Chapter 1605. I reckon that in the end, it will be our 6 great sects competing. How can the others compare to us? It's hard to say. I heard that the Seven Knights Villa also sent someone. Their sect leader didn't come. Only a girl called Wang Yue came. I heard that she seems to be a traitor of a Mei sect. Yeah, if this Wang Yue meets the disciples of a Mei sect, she will definitely be unlucky. She is nothing to be afraid of. What I am worried about is Murong Ying from Murong Villa, the previous alliance leader. What are you afraid of? If our sect leader didn't give face to old Master Murong, how could that girl become the alliance leader? This time, let's not talk about anything else. For the true immortal arts, we can't go easy on them. That's right. Let's perform well and not embarrass the sect leader. Hearing their conversation, Li Fan understood in his heart. It seemed that this time, the 6 great sects were determined to get the true immortal arts. But was it really that simple? Forget about the experts from various countries. Number 9, Martial Emperor, and Jiang Feng were all eyeing them. In addition, Liang Yu, who had the Shongfang sword, could not be underestimated. The heroic martial sect actually let her come out. It could be said that Director Niu was lucky. You idiots. The position of alliance leader must be number 9. Right at this moment, an American martial artist walked in. He was actually proficient in Chinese and understood the conversation between the 2 sects' disciples. What is number 9? The Kongtong sect disciple sneered. You dare to act rashly in front of the 6 great sects. Number 9 is our America's hero. America? Wasn't he defeated by Seven Knights Villa's Li Fan? How dare he come and bark? Even if he is defeated, it is because Li Fan is strong. What does it have to do with you guys? The American contestant sneered. This time, Li Fan did not come. Even if he came, our hero number 9 will definitely defeat him. Li Fan was a little surprised. This number 9 actually had such a good impression in the hearts of the American people. How did that cold-hearted guy become a hero? Hehe, it seems like I should let you know what Chinese Kung Fu is. The Kongtong disciple raised his true chi, but the Qingcheng disciple next to him pulled him back. Forget it, I'll teach him a lesson in the arena. We Chinese people are magnanimous. Don't stoop to his level. Fine, I'll let you go. The 2 disciples walked to the side, but Li Fan shook his head. Foolish and arrogant. It was a taboo for a martial artist to say such big words without any understanding of the enemy. As mentioned in Sun Tzu's Art of War, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. This is the culture of China that has been passed down for thousands of years. Even a 3-year-old child would know this, but there were very few people who were willing to do it. In China, it wasn't just the young martial artists who behaved this way. Even those experts who had been famous for many years and sect leaders were like this. Even on the internet, there were a bunch of keyboard warriors who were unwilling to understand the truth. The moment they opened their mouths, they would say things like, I heard, I'm sure, I promise, and then forcibly distort the truth. Jiang Feng also curled his lips. He seemed to be unhappy about this kind of thing. No, he should be feeling disdain, right? Contestants, please proceed to the next group according to the groups on the app. A staff member walked in and announced to the contestants. Jiang Feng finally closed his book. Just as the 2 young disciples of the 6 major sects were about to get up, he waved his hand. Bang, bang. The 2 disciples both fell to the ground, then looked at the commander of the Imperial Guards in fear. Oh my god, it's Jiang Feng, he's actually here too, why didn't I notice him just now? Jiang Feng had been very low-key. He sat in the corner, holding a book, so no one noticed this real expert. He showed his hand, which could be considered as a small punishment for the 2 arrogant young disciples, and then left. The 2 brothers were scared for a while, let alone angry. Their foreheads were covered in cold sweat. Oh my god. It's good to be alive, in the future. Don't talk nonsense, the 2 disciples rejoiced. Li Fan glanced at them and followed them out. There were a total of 108 contestants in the second round. This time, the top 64 would be selected. Li Fan came to a ring according to the groups. In front of him, it was none other than Teresa. What the fuck? Li Fan felt a little headache. What the fuck? How could it be so coincidental? Oh my god, this must be God's arrangement. Compared to Li Fan, Teresa was very excited. Dear Li, let me feel your heat again. When the judge next to her heard this, his expression also became strange. Teresa, don't say such misleading words, huh? What misunderstanding? Teresa looked at Li Fan in confusion. Nothing. Put your energy into the competition. Li Fan sighed. It seemed that he had to personally eliminate Teresa. Although her jiu-jitsu was also very good, he could not lose this competition. There was a stronger opponent waiting for him. The rules are the same as before. Please give it your all. The judge waved his hand, and the second round of the knockout competition officially began. Teresa licked her lips and then quickly approached Li Fan. Her movement speed was very fast. She had the agility of a woman, but she had strength that surpassed a man. Teresa quickly arrived in front of Li Fan and then directly hit his lower abdomen. Bang! Teresa's penetrating hand hit Li Fan's lower abdomen. But she felt as if she had hit cotton. There was no feeling of hitting at all. There are many ways to use inner strength. Li Fan said, one of them is to dissolve the opponent's strength. Unbelievable. Teresa did not expect that her attack would be dissolved just like that. Humph, don't think that you can beat me like this, Teresa said and wanted to pull her hand back to give Li Fan another hit. But she was surprised to find that she could not pull her hand out at all. How can this be? Feeling as if her hand was sucked in, Teresa used all her strength but could not pull her hand out. There is another way to use it, and that is this. After Li Fan said that, a burst of energy suddenly erupted from his lower abdomen and directly sent Teresa's body flying. Teresa almost fell out of the ring, but she still stabilized her body and rolled on the ground to dissolve the power in her body. Amazing. Teresa looked at Li Fan with some surprise. What else can you do? You can even do this. Li Fan stretched out his hand and pointed his palm at Teresa from a distance of a few meters. Chapter 1606. Li Fan aimed his palm at Teresa from a distance. Before Teresa could understand, a milky white ball of light slowly flew out from Li Fan's palm. Then, the ball of light instantly left Li Fan's palm and shot towards Teresa. What is this? Before Teresa could understand, the ball of light had already hit her lower abdomen. Bang! A huge force was produced instantly, replacing the ball of light and hitting Teresa's body, directly blasting her out and heavily smashing her outside the ring. What? Teresa laid on the ground, feeling sore all over her body. Li Fan's control of internal energy had already reached the acme of perfection and was incomparably superb. He sent Teresa flying, but he didn't hurt her physically. Unbelievable. Teresa could not understand why Li Fan could fly out a wave of energy from his hand. Could it be that inner energy really existed? The winner is contestant Li Yun. The referee raised his hand and announced, "Please go to lounge number 6 to rest. The third elimination round will begin in an hour." The next round was to select the top 34. This was naturally not difficult for Li Fan, but he did not know if Liang Ryu would be able to advance smoothly. Although this girl had inherited the Shangfang sword, her combat experience was too little, almost zero. She was different from number 9, a clone who was experimented on. Although number 9 did not have much combat experience, he had a smart chip and absorbed many experts' combat methods. In addition to his animalistic instincts, that was why he was so strong. Speaking of which, that number 9 should have successfully passed the second round of martial arts. He hoped that his opponent could still take care of himself. However, the one who was more terrifying than number 9 should be the Martial Emperor, right? That guy was known as the Martial Emperor, but he was actually a selfish person. He only had his own existence in his heart. When he reached a certain level of strength, then everyone would only be pigs and dogs under his feet, enslaved by him. To Li Fan, the Martial Emperor, Grandmaster, these opponents were also not to be underestimated. Because once they were in power, then humans would either be enslaved or destroyed. There would not be a good ending. In contrast, Jiang Feng seemed to be able to join forces. Although he also had his own ideas, It was at most to destroy the martial arts world. He could first join forces with him to deal with the Outland and the Martial Emperor. Then, the two of them could resolve their internal conflicts. This was a good idea. She didn't know if Jiang Feng had the same tacit understanding with her. Li, my dear Li. Just as Li Fan was about to go to the new lounge, Teresa ran over excitedly and grabbed Li Fan's arm, pressing her chest against his arm. This chest seems to be quite soft. Bah, what am I thinking? Did I fall for a sugar-coated bullet again? Li Fan gently shook off Teresa's arm and said, Miss Teresa, there is a saying in China that men and women should not touch each other. Those are the rules of the past. China is not so backward now. You can't fool me. Teresa had some understanding of Chinese culture, so she exposed Li Fan's lie immediately. Anyway, you have a husband. It's not good for you to be like this. Li Fan coughed dryly. It's okay. My husband and I have always been doing our own things. 2 days ago, he met a beautiful Spanish beauty. Do you want me to introduce her to you? This. I think I'll pass, Li Fan said. It's really France. The competition is over, Miss Teresa. Why are you looking for me? Li Fan walked into the lounge, which was currently provided for the 5 contestants. The others had not been chosen yet, so Li Fan had the opportunity to enjoy the lounge alone. Don't be so heartless. We're friends. Teresa licked her lips. If you want to take our relationship further, I won't object. Li Fan was quite speechless. He sat down and a waiter came over and handed him an energy drink and a towel. Who are you? Stay away from him. Just as Teresa was fawning over Li Fan, Liang Ayu happened to walk in with the Shongfang sword on her back. She saw a blonde beauty sticking to Li Fan and immediately became jealous. She stepped forward and pulled Teresa away. Oh, who are you? I'm his girlfriend. Liang Ayu puffed out her chest. Li Fan hurriedly explained, No, don't listen to her nonsense. She's my senior sister. Oh, senior sister? Teresa was a little excited. Then she must have some kind of true energy or something. Are you done? Stay away from Li. Li Yun. Liang Ayu was like a mother hen protecting her chick. She guarded closely by Li Fan's side, not letting Teresa get close to him. You're so nervous. It seems like you like him a lot. Teresa winked, and Liang Ayu blushed. So what? None of your business. Our Li Yun doesn't like Western foreign women. You'd better leave quickly. Hihi, but I like him. Teresa said her feelings without reservation. Dear Li, why don't you come to my room and have a chat? What do you want? Liang Ayu was angry and her face turned red. Shh. Teresa gently pressed a finger on her lips and said to Liang Ayu, It's not suitable for children. Not suitable for children, my ass. Liang Ayu was extremely angry. Just as she was about to speak, the door of the lounge was pushed open again. What followed was a gust of frightening cold air. The few of them turned their heads at the same time and saw a peerless beauty wearing a black cheongsam walk in. Murong Ying. She glanced at Li Fan, who was entangled by 2 women, and then turned her head as if she didn't know Li Fan. But Li Fan smiled bitterly. Fuck, he was definitely recognized. Murong Ying was the same as Jiang Feng in this aspect. No matter how he disguised himself, he would be seen through by them in a glance. You're Murong Ying? Liang Ayu had seen Murong Ying's photo before. Thus, she recognized this beautiful woman with a glance. What's the matter? Murong Ying crossed her arms and sat on the sofa with her left leg pressed against her right leg. She looked at Liang Ayu with the posture of an empress. Liang Ayu felt that she seemed to be inferior unknowingly. This made her, who was proud in her heart, very unhappy. I want to challenge you. As Liang Ayu spoke, her body emitted a faint yellow light. Oh my God, is this true, Chi? Teresa watched the show for free and was extremely happy at the side. Martial arts is not allowed in the lounge. The referee hurriedly shouted. Martial arts is not allowed, but it didn't say that sparring is not allowed, right? Liang Ayu's words caused the referee to be stunned. The referee also knew this girl's identity. With her father around, if she wanted to cause trouble, he really couldn't do anything. Fuck, the second generation of officials is too annoying. Chapter 1607. Liang Ayu's body emitted a yellow glow as she stared at Murong Ying, full of fighting spirit. Did she inherit the Shongfang sword? Murong Ying recognized the sword on Liang Ayu's back at a glance, then glanced at Li Fan. Li Fan broke out in a cold sweat. Fuck, this really has nothing to do with me. Liang Ayu did use the back door, but it was not his back door. Senior sister, calm down. Don't affect the other contestants. Li Fan could only remind Liang Ayu, if you want to determine the winner, prove it in the arena. Although Liang Ayu was dissatisfied, she was not an unruly person. Since Li Fan said so, she no longer pestered Murong Ying. In any case, she would definitely have a chance to determine the winner with Murong Ying in the arena. Chumph, is this woman the previous chief of Wulin? Why can't I tell which part of her is strong? Li Fan will soon know that I am the woman who is worthy of him. It seems like there's a good show to watch. Teresa crossed her arms and looked like she was watching a show. Li Fan was a little glad that Jiang Feng was not here, otherwise they would really fight. Murong Ying would definitely settle the score with Jiang Feng for what happened in Murong Villa. After a while, another two martial artists walked in. They were both martial artists from Huaxia. They wanted to chat, but when they saw the cold Murong Ying, they were as quiet as cicadas in winter. The former chief. A person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. Just based on Murong Ying's influence, it was definitely a bomb level in the underworld. The third round of the competition has begun. The referee received the notice and began to call out numbers to the people in the room. Li Yun, you have to go to the 13th arena for the third round of the elimination. Got it. Li Fan nodded, took his ID, and immediately set off in the direction of Ring 13. In this arena, the lounge was on the third floor, and the arena was on the first floor. After Li Fan came out, he went down to the first floor and entered the 13th arena. Since they were going to select the top 32, their opponents in this round should be a little stronger. In Li Fan's heart, he was a little expectant. After he entered the ring, he found that his opponent was already standing opposite him, waiting for him. Oh! When Li Fan saw a middle-aged woman with two swords on her back, he couldn't help but feel a little surprised. That woman was none other than the current sect leader of a Mei sect, Yu Ruoying. In order to obtain the true immortal art, this woman did not hesitate to expel her beloved disciple from the sect. She made her carry the name of a traitor and enter the Seven Knights Villa. Li Fan did not have a good impression of such a ruthless woman. Another piece of trash. Yu Ruoying urged, hurry up, I have to go back and apply a facial mask after I get rid of you. Okay, I promise I'll be quick. Li Fan smiled and stood on the stage. Hurry up and start. Yu Ruoying shouted at the judge, don't waste my time. All right, let the match begin. The judge rolled his eyes and announced the start of the match. As the saying goes, quiet like a virgin, move like a fleeing rabbit. In an instant, Yu Ruoying used white horse treads on snow. Her body was like a spirit fox as she suddenly crossed a distance of 10 meters and arrived in front of Li Fan. At the same time, she pulled out her sword with her right hand and stabbed at Li Fan's left leg. If he were to be stabbed, Li Fan would probably be forced to retire and return to his hometown. In Yu Ruoying's heart, Li Fan should also be defeated. But at this moment, Li Fan suddenly raised his left leg and stepped on Yu Ruoying's sword. You don't respect your opponent. You don't deserve to be a martial artist. Under Yu Ruoying's shocked gaze, Li Fan's dragon subduing platform swept across Yu Ruoying's face. Bang! Yu Ruoying was kicked away and fell on the edge of the arena. What? Yu Ruoying's brain was still unable to react, as if she was repelled in an instant. When she woke up, she was already lying on the ground. What happened? I was repelled by a nameless person? How is this possible? She is the sect leader of a Mei sect. How could a true grandmaster be defeated so easily? Nobody, have a taste of my cold snow plum blossom sword. With that, Yu Ruoying suddenly jumped up. White horse treads on snow was a qinggong that emphasized on agility. With this jump, she directly jumped on top of Li Fan's head. At the same time, she unsheathed her two swords and stabbed at Li Fan. In this short jump, she stabbed almost 100 times. It shows the strength of this Immerse Grandmaster. Li Fan coldly snorted. He extended his hand and a long sword on the shelf beside the arena immediately flew over and fell into his hand. Holding this ordinary long sword, he waved it and actually managed to block Yu Ruoying's set of sword techniques. Impossible. Yu Ruoying's expression was as ugly as it could be. My sword technique was blocked. Something must have gone wrong. Her sword pressed against Li Fan's sword, bending the blade. Then, with the help of the rebound, she leaped up again. Then, the two swords merged into one, and her body spun as she fell towards Li Fan again. This sword was very fast, but Li Fan's body lightly slid and easily avoided Yu Ruoying's fatal strike. At the same time, he lifted his leg and kicked Yu Ruoying's body, sending the Immerse faction leader flying away. Yu Ruoying endured the pain and stabbed her two swords into the ground, barely stabilizing her body. Who the hell are you? Yu Ruoying looked at Li Fan in surprise. I'm just a martial artist. Li Fan said calmly, please advise me. Damn it. I am the Immerse sect leader. How can I lose to a nobody like you? Yu Ruoying clenched her teeth. The flesh on a middle-aged woman's face began to twist. I must. Before she finished speaking, Li Fan, who was standing at a distance, seemed to move his shoulders slightly. Supreme Dragon Fist. Bang. No one saw this punch clearly. They only saw Yu Ruoying's body fly out again and fall outside the arena. You talk too much. Who wants to listen? Li Fan retracted his fist and said to the judge, may I ask, can you make the decision? Ah, okay. The judge suddenly came back to his senses. He did not understand how that rude woman flew out, but it was a fact that she fell outside the arena. Li Yun is the winner of this match. Impossible. Yu Ruoying stood up and shouted hysterically, I am the Immerse sect leader. I can't lose here. I should be competing for the championship in the finals. The true immortal art should be mine. Go back and dream. You have already lost. Li Fan turned around and walked back. At this moment, Yu Ruoying held two swords and launched a surprise attack from behind. The two swords stabbed toward Li Fan's back. Chapter 1608. Be careful. The referee's voice has already ended. Yu Ruoying's two swords have already arrived at Li Fan's back. The next second, they will pierce into his body. However, these two swords only pierced through the air and did not hit the target as expected. What? Yu Ruoying felt a sense of threat and subconsciously turned her head. Li Fan, on the other hand, was already standing by her side. He kicked her in the head from the bottom up. Bam! Yu Ruoying's body was kicked high up, and her head almost separated from her neck. If not for Li Fan's mercy, Yu Ruoying's head would have been separated from her body, but even so, her body directly smashed into the wall next to her, and her whole body was embedded in it. With this kind of temperament, you don't deserve to be a martial artist. Looking at Yu Ruoying, who was smashed into the wall, Li Fan coldly said, you violated the sanctity of martial arts duel. I am the leader of a Immerse faction. I can't be defeated. Yu Ruoying said and wanted to fight again, but her body was sore, and several bones in her body were broken. She simply did not have the ability to fight again. With your temperament, I'm afraid your future achievement will not be as good as your disciple Wang Yue. Li Fan ridiculed Yu Ruoying, guard your guru for the rest of your life. Anyway, you don't have long to live, right? Yu Ruoying's face slowly became frightened as she looked at Li Fan. How do you even know this? Who are you? I have said, I am just an ordinary martial artist. Li Fan was too lazy to talk to this Yu Ruoying anymore. He was also tired today, and it just so happened that all the martial arts duels have ended. It's time to go back and rest. Congratulations on becoming one of the top 32 contestant. After Li Fan came out, a staff of the venue immediately greeted him. You have your own private lounge, you can live there. Really? This is not bad. Li Fan's spirit was lifted. Great, I finally have a place to live alone. In this way, I can cultivate properly. The staff led Li Fan to a higher lounge on the 4th floor. In this lounge, Li Fan could see the huge outdoor martial arts arena from the window. Although he had seen it during the day, Li Fan had to praise it. The arena was indeed well built and very majestic. This was also a facility that could only be built in a centralized country. Few Western countries could build such a magnificent arena. As one of the top 32 contestants, Li Fan's lounge was also a good one. It was a standard one-person apartment. There was a bed, a desk, and a separate bathroom with shower facilities. It could be considered a 3-star room. I wonder how Wu Huang and the others are. I look forward to it. Tomorrow, the top 4 contestants will be Yi, Ju, Li Fan said. Su, Liang Su said. Su, however, the matches for the top 32 would still be held in the indoor arena on the first floor. The top 16 would be selected before 9 o'clock. The top 16 will be held in the outdoor arena. Starting from 9 o'clock, the top 16 will compete continuously. In the afternoon, it will be the top 8. Liu Bufan also sent a WeChat message to Li Fan. Looks like this kid is very lucky to be in the top 32. However, the top 32 should be experts. With Liu Bufan's results, it would be very difficult for him to win. Bang! Just as Li Fan was about to meditate, someone knocked on the door. Who is it? Li Fan thought it was strange. Who would be looking for him at this time? He opened the door and was dumbfounded. Good heavens, it's actually Teresa. This beautiful French contestant was dressed in a combat suit during the day, but at night, she changed into a beautiful and sexy dress. She stood at Li Fan's door with 2 glasses of red wine in her hands and looked at Li Fan with a smile. Dear Li, how about we have a drink? Li Fan closed the door behind him. Hey, isn't it too impolite for you Chinese to treat your guests like this? I have something to tell you. Where's the important information? It's not a good idea to let Teresa shout outside. It'll be bad if she attracts other people. This woman, how did she find out that I'm staying here? This venue is too bad at keeping the contestants secret. Li Fan had no choice but to open the door and let Teresa in. Teresa was wearing a clean and beautiful dress, and sexy black stockings on her lower body. Years of practicing martial arts had trained Teresa's legs to be long and straight. As a natural-born Caucasian, her fair legs looked even more alluring when paired with the black stockings. Dear Li, sometimes you're really heartless. Teresa swayed her hips and walked into Li Fan's room. The lounge of the top 32 is really not bad. It would be great if I could sleep here too. You're a famous martial artist. Don't tell me you don't have the money to stay in a 3-star hotel. Li Fan couldn't help but roll his eyes. This Teresa is trying to trick me. No way. Li Fan was determined to block the sugar-coated bullets of capitalism. Dear, it's so hot in the room. Teresa gently sat beside Li Fan and put the wine glass on the table next to her. Then, she slightly pulled down her collar and revealed half of her breasts. Li Fan said it wasn't hot at first, but it made him feel a lot hotter. It's so hot. Teresa simply took off the little dress on her upper body, revealing her upper body that was only wearing a sexy black leopard print bra. This is a woman's most powerful weapon. Even Li Fan couldn't help but feel weak under this kind of attack. He hurriedly stood up and avoided Teresa before saying, Teresa, I'm not against romantic encounters, but I'm not interested in a married woman. Don't say that. For us French, it's the same whether we're married or not. Teresa gave Li Fan an encouraging look. Don't you feel excited about conquering a beautiful wife? Stop it, Teresa. Didn't you say you came to talk to me? Yeah, then sit down first and we'll talk slowly. Teresa lightly patted the bed beside her. I have very important information to give you. I'd better stand here and talk. For a lady, it's very impolite of you. Teresa was a little sad. Do you hate me that much? No. Okay, you can talk, but don't get physical. Li Fan really couldn't do anything to this wolf-like Teresa. Chapter 1609. Dear Li, I really have information to tell you. Teresa picked up the wine glasses and handed one of them to Li Fan. Don't tell me you don't even want to drink my wine. All right. Li Fan picked up the wine glass and slowly took a sip. This seems to be the red wine that Teresa brought herself. The taste seems to be pretty good. However, Li Fan doesn't really know how to taste red wine. He also doesn't know what is considered good wine and what is not. I don't know much about you Chinese people's information on this tournament. Teresa raised her beautiful leg and took out her cell phone from the strap on her leg. Li Fan saw that there was actually a condom in the pocket next to the strap. Look, there are a few international experts this time. Other than the black ghost by Sen that you met during the day, there is also a French warrior called White Tiger called Tiger. Teresa pulled up a photo of a burly man wearing a white tiger mask. I heard that this man was born with the strength of a fierce tiger and is an outstanding professional wrestler in France. I think he later went to the United States to fight in WWE. What is WWE? Li Fan was stunned. World Wrestling Entertainment, or WWE. You should have heard of it, right? Yeah, I've heard of it. I liked to watch it when I was young. It's very satisfying. When Li Fan was in junior high, he often watched WWE. Later on, he was discovered by the adults and was worried that Li Fan would have violent tendencies in the future, so he was banned. When he grew up, Li Fan heard that WWE is all acting. He doesn't know if it's true or not, but it's very satisfying to watch. Those matches are just child's play. Teresa waved her hand. What really excites Western people is this WWE, also known as the Underworld Wrestling Entertainment. In this place, there are almost no rules. Victory is the ultimate goal. The White Tiger Warrior, Tiger, is a famous pinnacle player in WWE. He has never lost a match in WWE. Those who fight with him are either crippled or dead. They don't have a good ending. Heh, this guy is so powerful. Li Fan raised his eyebrows. He was very excited to be able to fight against such a player in the world. There's one more. It's this mysterious hero from America, number 9. Teresa took out number 9's information. On it was a handsome man in uniform and a mask. Although he looked the same as Li Fan, number 9's genes had been strengthened. His physical body was even more tyrannical, and his height was close to 1.9 meters. Every muscle on his body was like half a rock, and he looked full of power. He's half a god in the hearts of the American people. It's said that he's the real-life version of Superman. He's worshipped by the American people. How powerful. But it is said that number 9 always has a female reporter named Windsor with him. It seems that she is number 9's agent. Maybe this Windsor is very important to number 9. Li Fan faintly felt that it was Windsor who changed the number 9, because Windsor's appearance was indeed a good beauty. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and Teresa each had their own merits. And what was worth praising was that Windsor had a bit of cuteness like a porcelain doll. Not to mention anything else, she was exactly the type that Li Fan liked. If number 9 was a person cloned from his own genes, he would also have a kind of love for this beautiful girl named Windsor. With such feelings, no matter how strong number 9 was, he probably wouldn't make a move on Windsor. If Windsor was a little more eloquent, maybe she could really influence number 9. Fate makes fools of people. Dearly, why are you sighing like this? Teresa was puzzled at first, but she suddenly smiled. You're right. It must be God's arrangement for me to meet you. Dearly, I really like you. Your strength makes it hard for me to control myself. Oh. As she spoke, she opened her arms and leaned into Li Fan's embrace. Li Fan originally wanted to push Teresa away, but he seemed to be aroused by Teresa, so he couldn't bear to push away the beauty in his arms. Teresa's mouth slightly hung a smug smile. She put some aphrodisiac in the wine and specially sprayed an aphrodisiac perfume. She didn't believe that this Li wouldn't give in. The reason why she did this was because, 1, she really liked this mysterious and powerful Chinese man. French women pursue romance and love. Since there was such a man, she was naturally willing to seek a night of pleasure. 2, she also wanted to get close to Li Fan and find out what this powerful secret of Li Fan was. The mysterious Chinese martial arts wasn't something that could be learned just because one wanted to. She heard that the Chinese always had some kind of sectarian bias, which caused the great Chinese martial arts to almost be lost in the end, resulting in the current situation where there was a gap between the young and the old. If she could learn this magical internal force, Then she could also obtain the qualification to fight in the WWE. Teresa also liked to pursue martial arts, to pursue the feeling of victory. Teresa, under this state of being attacked by lust, Li Fan forcibly raised the internal force in his body and circulated it in his meridians for a few days in an instant, forcing out the poison of love that had been brewing in his body. Li Fan also instantly regained his sobriety, and finally pushed Teresa, who was already a little confused and infatuated. Ever since he became a dragon knight, Li Fan had learned his lesson. This kind of one-night stand really couldn't be played. It was too easy to get into trouble, not to mention other things, since Teresa could find his room, then Liang Ayu, Murongying, and the others also had a probability of finding this place, right? When the time came, if the two of them saw that he was fooling around with a foreign woman, what would they think? Li Fan didn't want to be hunted down by the two women, so he forcibly put away the thoughts that he shouldn't have. Why, my dear Li? Teresa reached out and grabbed Li Fan's vital part. See, you're already so welcoming, aren't you? Oh my God, with your size, you really don't look like an Asian. We, the Easterners, naturally have our own talented, expert. Li Fan pulled Teresa's little hand away, calmed down his lust, stood up, and looked at Teresa again. Teresa, I respect you, but please respect me too. We Huaxia people have a more traditional and conservative concept of love, I hope you can understand. My dear Li, what are you worried about? Teresa was a little indignant that someone could actually ignore her charm. I won't let you be responsible for anything. We French people are very clear about love and marriage. We Huaxia people are different. But the probability of you having an affair, marriage change, and having a third party is very high. There are always some exceptions. Alright, Teresa, how about this? I'll teach you internal force, and you give up on the idea of me, how about that? Chapter 16:10. Li Fan could tell that Teresa had made up her mind today, so he decided to take a roundabout route to save the country and let Teresa divert her thoughts. Dear Li, you're making it hard for me to choose. Teresa licked her lips. Can't I have both? Of course not. Li Fan emphasized, in China, there's a saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Alright, dear Li, it looks like I can only make one choice. Teresa said in her heart, with my charm, sooner or later I'll have the chance to push Li down. After all, I'm a famous beauty. No matter how persevering Li Fan is, he's still a man, right? I'll slowly conquer him, I'll definitely make him fall under my skirt. Then I'll first learn this magical inner energy from you. What should I do? How can I have inner energy? Logically speaking, at your age, it's already very difficult to cultivate inner energy. Is it impossible? No. Luckily you met me. As Li Fan spoke, he suddenly walked behind Teresa and placed a palm on her back. What are you doing? Without waiting for Teresa to react, a powerful inner energy poured into her body from Li Fan's palm. Teresa couldn't help but stretch out her hands and discovered that there was a silver-white stream of air wrapped around her hands. This is true energy. Sort of, a little stronger than true energy. Li Fan nodded. I left a certain amount of inner energy in your body and opened up your meridians. This inner energy will automatically circulate in your body. Although it can't strengthen your dantian, it can maintain the absorption of the energy you get from food. As long as you eat, the inner energy you use can be regenerated. In an ordinary battle, the amount of inner energy in your body is enough for you to use. This is amazing. Teresa felt the airflow on her hands. She was very excited, so she tried to control the two airflows and began to gather them on her hands. Soon, 2 balls of white air condensed on her palms and continuously rotated. Amazing, is this true energy? How's the power? Power. Go to the training room and try it yourself. Li Fan yawned. I'm tired. I need to rest. Alright, I'm going to the training room. See you tomorrow, darling. I will cheer for you. In the end, Teresa was still a martial arts fanatic. Now that she had gained new strength, she immediately put on her clothes and ran downstairs to the training room. I'm finally free. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. After getting rid of this crazy French girl, the rest would be easy. He looked at the wide arena outside, stretched his body, and lay down on the bed. No matter who came looking for him tonight, he would absolutely ignore them. There will be a martial arts competition at 7 tomorrow morning. Let's get up at 6 and have breakfast. Before the martial arts competition, Li Fan didn't want to make himself so nervous. He lay on the bed and soon fell asleep. In his dream, he seemed to see another Fang Xiaoxue. When Li Fan woke up, he found that his pillow was a little wet. Ian, it's a new day. Li Fan sorted out his emotions. He put on the heroic martial sect sportswear and opened the door. It was still very quiet outside. After all, it was only the top 32. Perhaps after the top 8, it would become lively, right? The top 16 would be selected in the competition at 7, so he still had time to have breakfast. However, before Li Fan left, a staff member brought breakfast to Li Fan. "Sir, this is your breakfast. Please go to the third arena after eating." "Ah, all right." They actually brought breakfast to my room. It seemed that the people from the Sky Marshal Pavilion had thought this through. They were afraid that the contestants would have the opportunity to come into contact with each other before the competition and then start fighting. "Please enjoy your meal." The staff member left after bringing breakfast. Li Fan simply ate a little. Now that he could absorb heaven and earth yuan qi, he didn't have a strong need for food. He just liked to eat according to his habits. "Darling, you're up so early." When Li Fan went to the third arena, he bumped into Teresa again. It was as if the girl had her eyes on him and was always around him. "Hey, Teresa, didn't you get eliminated? Go back to France. Don't you miss your motherland?" "Of course I miss my motherland, but I miss you more." Teresa winked at Li Fan. She was wearing a white shirt and black Korean-style shorts, looking very pure. She followed closely beside Li Fan, as if she was afraid that Li Fan would get lost. "The third arena is this way, darling. Can't I go to the toilet?" "I can go with you." "Fuck, why are you going in? I can help you hold on." Li Fan had to give it to Teresa. This lady was really clinging to him. Fortunately, Liang Yu and the rest were not around. Otherwise, they would definitely cause a ruckus. Li Fan had to give up his plan to escape to the toilet and obediently went to the third arena. As a friend, Teresa could also enter and watch from the side. He came early, and his opponent had not appeared yet. There was only Li Fan in the arena. Li Fan looked at the time. It was already 7:20. The opponent was actually late. "Hey, referee, the opponent didn't come. Should it be counted as his loss?" Li Fan did not say anything, but Teresa went up to ask the referee. When the referee saw this blonde beauty, he was too embarrassed to say anything else and was about to announce. At this moment, the door was pushed open, and a group of reporters rushed in, surrounding a blonde, fair-skinned foreign man. Hey, this is the top 32, no spectators allowed." The referee hurriedly said to the reporters, but they all ignored him and frantically took pictures of the blonde, fair-skinned man. "Oh, why is it this egomaniac?" Teresa sighed. "Who is this?" Li Fan asked as he moved his muscles and bones. In any case, he was not in a hurry. An hour was enough to finish this match. At 9 o'clock, it should be the top 16. He is a WWE player, nicknamed Titan. Teresa told Li Fan, he is the WWE's world champion for the past 2 years. "I heard that he did not even put the white tiger in his eyes and always wanted to beat that tiger into a sick tiger." Teresa groaned. This brother's appearance fee is extremely high. Why did he think of coming here to compete? After all, there is a prize for the first place. Li Fan smiled. "It's fine. Then I will accompany him to practice. Be careful. Although this person is arrogant, he still has some ability." Teresa reminded Li Fan. At this time, Titan had already walked to the arena and extended 3 fingers to Li Fan. 3 minutes, I will let you go out lying down. Chapter 16:11. The surrounding cameras kept shooting non-stop, and the flashes kept hitting Titan's body. This Tai Tan was indeed a handsome man, sunny and handsome. He posed in front of the camera, allowing the reporters to take pictures. You must take a more handsome picture. We, Tai Tan, are giving you face by letting you take pictures, do you understand? The agent stood at the side, also arrogantly shouting at these people. Those reporters did not care, their focus was on Tai Tan. Tai Tan, do you have the determination to win this martial arts competition? Why did you consider coming to China to participate in this kind of martial arts competition? Don't these opponents make you feel that they are too weak? These reporters raised their microphones, ignoring the martial arts competition, and continued to interview Tai Tan. Tai Tan crossed his arms, wearing a golden cloak, and smiled proudly. The reason why I condescend to come to this kind of place is to fulfill my promise from back then. Ferocious white tiger, I want to thoroughly defeat him in this remote and backward land. Li Fan frowned, this brother's words were a bit unlikable. After all, this was an international martial arts competition, one could really meet anyone. However, the martial artists on his side were also like this, so Li Fan was too embarrassed to say anything about others. Everyone else is just a stepping stone, only the white tiger is my enemy. Tai Tan released a declaration of victory. I will beat him up, and then get this China's Martial Arts Alliance master. Pa, pa, pa. Applause, flashes, and the sound of cameras taking pictures converged into a strange music, causing Li Fan to feel a little irritated. Contestant, please start your match immediately. The referee picked up the loudspeaker and urged loudly, if you don't start, I'll rule that you have lost the match. What are you rushing me for? You don't know manners. Tai Tan ridiculed, didn't I say it already? In 3 minutes, I can take care of you, the sick man of East Asia. Those Chinese martial artists I met before were all too weak, so boring. Li Fan glanced at the referee, who nodded. I announce that the top 32 martial arts competition officially begins. As soon as he finished speaking, Tai Tan hooked his finger at Li Fan, meaning for him to make the first move. Li Fan didn't stand on ceremony. He strolled in front of Tai Tan and tentatively slapped his lower abdomen. Bang! The Titan's body didn't move. Li Fan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He had used a little bit of his inner force, which was enough to deal with the 2-meter-tall muscular man, but it was useless against this wrestler called Titan. The muscles on his body seemed to have been trained to a very exaggerated level, right? Heh, did you not eat your fill? Tai Tan sneered, that's why I call you the sick men of East Asia, you don't even have the slightest bit of strength. Could this be called a fist? This is what you call a fist. With that, Tai Tan threw a hook directly at Li Fan's chin. Bang! Li Fan's body was sent flying and then fell on the arena. Heavens! Teresa couldn't help but exclaim. Her dear Li, is he going to be defeated? The muscles on this Titan's body had been trained to the acme of perfection, and ordinary attacks were ineffective against him. Could it be that China's mysterious inner force can't deal with him? Teresa was a famous beauty in Europe and America. This man called Tai Tan had once pursued her, but Teresa hated his arrogance, so she didn't agree. He can't even withstand a single blow. Tai Tan disdainfully said, referee, announce my victory. Don't be anxious. Li Fan easily sat up from the ground. He rubbed his neck and looked at Tai Tan. Come, let's continue. You can take quite a beating. Tai Tan was slightly surprised. He suddenly took off his cloak and threw it to his manager. Then, he quickly ran over and grabbed Li Fan with one hand. Then, he twisted his body and went around to Li Fan's back and directly threw a German-style back throw. Bang! Li Fan's head smashed onto the arena. The reporters at the side were all exclaiming. Look, it's a German-style back throw. I'm afraid that the Chinese won't be able to take this head-on. That's right, who would be able to withstand this move? Even a tiger can't take it. The reporters were discussing. Tai Tan also let go of Li Fan, stood up and walked towards his manager. Hurry up and call an ambulance. He'll probably be lying in the hospital for 2 months. Just as Tai Tan finished speaking, Li Fan's voice rang out again. Then aren't you going to compensate for the medical expenses? What? Tai Tan suddenly turned around and realized that Li Fan was standing behind him, completely fine. What? Before he finished speaking, Li Fan suddenly took a step forward and met the attack with his palm, directly pressing it on Tai Tan's lower abdomen. Bang! This time, Tai Tan's muscles didn't help him. He directly slid out and slid towards the edge of the arena. Tai Tan endured the pain and forcibly stopped his body. But Li Fan once again appeared in front of him. Li Fan was not anxious. Both of his palms were like shooting targets. One palm after another, he continuously slapped Tai Tan's body. Bang, bang, bang. Li Fan consecutively struck more than 10 palms, causing Tai Tan to continuously retreat. Bang. Finally, Li Fan used both of his palms and slapped Tai Tan's abdomen. Tai Tan couldn't take it anymore and directly flew out. In a flash, he broke through the room's door and fell out of the room. Sorry, I used a bit too much strength. Li Fan said to his manager, help him call an ambulance. I estimate that he'll have to lie in the hospital for 2 months. The manager swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Looking at Tai Tan, who had already fainted and lying outside, he didn't know what to say. Tai Tan's trip to China actually came to an end just like that. But the reporters became excited and kept taking photos of Li Fan. The image of the heroic martial sect's disciple also appeared in various foreign media. Darling, you are indeed the best. Teresa happily welcomed him and affectionately held onto Li Fan's arm. That egomaniac overestimated himself. He actually dared to challenge you. He's still quite powerful. Li Fan honestly said, among the ordinary people, he is indeed one of the best. But unfortunately, he met me. Consider this brother's bad luck. The top 32 competition is over. In a while, at 9 o'clock, they will officially enter the top 16 competition. Please return to the lounge and rest for a while. Wait for our notice. The judge's attitude towards Li Fan also became respectful. This person is too powerful. Furthermore, he really made the Chinese people proud. Okay. Under the flashing lights of the reporters, Li Fan brought Teresa, this little tail, back to his lounge. On the wall of the lounge, there was a big TV, which was playing the information of the selected contestants. Among them, Li Fan saw some familiar names. Murong Ying, Jiang Feng, and Chapter 1612. Murong Ying, Jiang Feng, Liao Ju, these were definitely top-notch figures. The familiar ones from overseas were Bai Sen, number 9, and Fierce White Tiger from WWE. Slightly below them were the sect leaders of the 6 great sects. Other than a Mei sect leader who was eliminated by him, Qing Cheng sect leader, the ambitious Wang Zheni was also here. Long Bailey, the brainless leader of the Kongtong sect, also participated. Other than that, Kunlun sect leader, Miao Chen was also here. Shaolin martial fanatic, Master Yu Shu was also here. Wudang sect leader Wu Jizi was a plain person, so he did not come, but his junior brother Wu Yangzi came. This Wu Yangzi was more ambitious than his senior brother, he was a bit like Qing Cheng Wang Zheni. But Wu Yangzi seemed to be the same as a Mei sect leader. They were both unlucky and were actually eliminated in top 32. Hey! Who is this brother? Li Fan saw an unfamiliar name, Niu Xueyan, sect leader of heroic martial sect. Where did this guy come from? Dark Horse. Li Fan could not understand. From the name list on the screen, it seemed like this guy eliminated Wu Yangzi in top 32. Other than them, Luo Xuewu and Long Fengyu were also here. Long Fengyu and Long Bailey were brothers. In this martial competition, the two of them would most likely join hands again. Other than that, Li Fan also paid attention to 2 other people. One was his 7 hero sect's representative, Wang Yuer. And the other was actually the devil sect Saintess. Good heavens, this woman who had some fate with me actually dared to come out? And she even directly announced my name, Saintess of Solipsism. Could it be that she also came for the 3rd page of the True Immortal Arts? Speaking of Saintess, Li Fan thought of his sworn brother, Liu Zhu. He did not know if it was because Saintess was going to participate in the martial competition, but Liu Zhu actually took a leave of absence and left Li Family Island to go to the mainland. Sigh, this brother of mine is good in every aspect, but he could not give up on the only I Supreme Sec. The Saintess had eliminated Wang Yue. Although this little girl had improved a lot, her combat experience was still not rich enough. This was also a form of training for her. After all, it wouldn't be good for her to enter the top 16. 7. Chivalry Villa. The name of this sect didn't seem suitable to appear in China anymore. Sigh. There was also Liang Yu. That little girl had also charged through thousands of men and horses and fought her way into the top 16. In this way, there were himself, Mu Rongying, Jiang Feng, Liao Ju, Bai Sen, Number 9, Wang Zheni, Long Bailey, Miao Chen, Yu Shu, Niu Shuayan, Luo Shuewu, Long Fengyu, White Tiger, Saintess, and Liang Yu. Although it was an international competition, only 3 foreigners made it to the top 16. Moreover, one of them was his clone, a real Huaxia descendant. This was probably a slap in the face for the West. This list of the top 16 is quite well deserved. This list was not much different from what Li Fan had expected, except for Niu Shuayan, who was a little surprising. Darling, you're amazing. You actually made it to the top 16. You're worthy of being the man I admire. Teresa was about to stick to him again, but Li Fan hurriedly pushed her away. Have you mastered your true qi? Why are you sticking to me? Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This woman was about to become a dogskin plaster. Isn't it because you're too attractive? Teresa was not shy at all. You're my sweetheart. Stop, we're not the same kind of people. We definitely can't go together. There's no need to go together. As long as I can enjoy the remaining 2 days with you, it's fine. Teresa said generously, romance is, after all, short-lived. I won't ask for too long. These words sounded especially romantic, but wasn't it just a one-night stand? All right, if you're willing, I can accompany you for these 2 days and teach you some martial arts. But let's not talk about the matters of the heart. Li Fan pointed to the arena below. In my heart, there's only this martial arts tournament. It's very important to me and even to the future of the entire human race. Is it that exaggerated? Teresa was a little surprised. A martial arts alliance leader? I don't even understand this concept. What exactly is a alliance leader? Alliance leader is just a title. Although this is important, the reward is more important. 1 million? That's not a lot. For a great expert like you, do you still lack money? Li Fan didn't know how to explain. At this time, his phone's WeChat rang. He opened it and saw that it was a message from Liu Bufan. Junior brother, where are you? Come out and drink with me. Damn it, I actually lost. Who did you meet? Li Fan had forgotten to pay attention to his cheap senior brother. Damn it, I met that American Emperor's number 9. This kid is strange, he sent me flying with one kick. He's so strong, and he didn't rely on his inner force. What the hell? Liu Bufan complained. Come on, drink with me. It's my treat. No. I still have to participate in the next competition. Damn it, you're so lucky. Liu Bufan couldn't help but shout, making it to the top 16, not bad. Unfortunately, the next ones are real experts. If you don't make it to the top 8, there's no prize money. Sigh. Liu Bufan sent another message to Li Fan. I'll go watch your competition later. Whether our contestants are eliminated or not, they will get a ticket to the front row of the auditorium. This was not bad. He didn't know if it was the arrangement of the Sky Martial Pavilion or the Martial Arts General Administration, but they still had some ideas. The competition is about to begin. Contestants, please get ready at your respective seat. The big screen and mobile app started to inform Li Fan. At this time, Teresa had to temporarily separate from Li Fan and go to the auditorium. At this time, in the open-air arena, the surrounding auditorium was full. The stands that could accommodate a total of 100,000 people were densely packed with people. Many people even stood in the aisle, wanting to watch the competition to the end. This was a world-level competition, and it was definitely something to watch. The stands were surrounded by 4 huge LCD screens. Countless small screens were connected together, forming the 4 huge screens. The screens showed the information of the 16 contestants for the audience to watch. At the same time, the Bank of the World also made a bet for this competition. They found the best actuary, and based on the combat strength of the 16 contestants, they would determine their winning rate. In this competition, the person with the highest winning rate was actually number 9. After all, compared to Huaxia's martial artists, number 9's name was more well known. Bai Sen and the fierce white tiger's winning rate was also very high. This was the result of the actuary's calculations. Chapter 16:13. Are you crazy? When the boss of a famous gambling company saw the actuary's calculation results, he opened his eyes wide and cursed at the actuary from the east. How did you get your qualification certificate? Are you trying to bankrupt me? Pack your things and get lost. You don't deserve to be an actuary. Boss, you can fire me now, but you will regret it very soon. The actuary from the east pushed up his glasses. A hint of wisdom flashed in his eyes. You think too highly of the people from your country. How can their combat power compare to people like Bai Sen and White Tiger? I understand them because I am from China. The actuary insisted. You are the boss. I am the actuary. It doesn't matter if you don't believe me, but you will find me soon. Stop talking nonsense. Pack your things and get lost. The boss chased the actuary out of the door. Then, he looked at the calculation results of the top 16. You actually said that the people from China will win? Nonsense. Go and invite the other German actuary. This time, we are going to make a fortune. The bank was still in operation. They were waiting for the specific list of the top 16. Once the list was out, they would immediately start betting. Li Fan sat in his contestant's seat. Through the glass window in front of him, he looked at the arena outside. In his room, there was also a huge LCD screen. He could see the contestants' announcement on it. A host was already sitting high up in the stands. Through the microphone, he began to host the competition of the top 16. At this time, the enthusiasm of the audience was also ignited. Waves of cheers came one after another. Many fans of the contestants also rushed over. Most of them were number 9, White Tiger, and the others. The scene was very lively. Around the stands, Li Fan saw a few old men in grey robes. These old men looked ordinary, but they gave Li Fan an indescribable sense of majesty. Could it be that these people were from the Sky Martial Court? The Sky Martial Court was probably the most mysterious organization in the martial arts world. They only appeared during the selection of the chief of the martial arts world. Every time, they would bring a prize that no one could refuse. This time, it was the third page of the True Immortal Technique. The list of 16 contestants has appeared on the big screen. Everyone, please take a look. The names of the contestants have been messed up. Next, we will be randomly selecting them. The host's voice was full of enthusiasm, guiding the mood of the audience. Li Fan looked at the jumbled names and muttered in his heart, "Can this thing really be fair? Our first round of contestants has begun screening. Everyone, please watch the big screen." On the big screen, Mu Rongying's beautiful appearance in a cheongsam appeared. My God, my fiancé is actually the first to appear. The door to the participant seating area in front of Mu Rongying opened, and the former martial arts guild master leaped more than 10 meters with a single leap, landing lightly on the huge arena. The appearance of Mu Rongying also made many people cheer. There were many boys present, and they were all Mu Rongying's fans. After all, she was a beautiful guild leader. It wasn't too much for her to have her own support team. The screen of the second contestant continued to rotate, and soon, a familiar face of a woman appeared on the screen. Fuck, this is too much of a coincidence. Li Fan saw Luo Shuawu wearing a long white dress and a blue chiffon. These two women actually met. Luo Shuawu is probably going to be miserable. The guild leader of the Leaning Sword was also as beautiful as a fairy. Her long dress fluttered as she gracefully landed on the arena and stood opposite of Mu Rongying. The first contestant is our former martial arts guild master. She is a very young and beautiful woman. It is said that she is the current head of the most powerful Murong villa in Huaxia. My God, her fan club is so strong. Almost an entire area is cheering for her. I have to say, our beautiful guild leader wearing a cheongsam is a fatal temptation. The host showed off his glib tongue, and the beautiful woman opposite is not inferior either. She is the guild leader of Huaxia's martial arts guild, Leaning Sword Laughing Breeze. Both of you are alliance masters, but let us wait and see who is stronger. It seems that we are quite fated. Luo Shuawu slowly pulled out the sword hanging on her waist and pointed the tip of the sword at Murong Ying. Come and fight. I will tell you that I am no longer the Luo Shuawu of the past. Okay. Murong Ying nodded. She stood there with her hands behind her back and looked at Luo Shuawu. I look forward to your challenge. As a saint-level expert, Murong Ying was definitely qualified to say this. Our former martial arts guild master is indeed domineering. She gladly accepted the opponent's challenge. The host continued to ignite the crowd's emotions. Take this. Luo Shuewu was also an expert of her generation. She seemed to have been concentrating on cultivation recently. Judging from the momentum she instantly raised, she should have made great progress. Under everyone's gaze, Luo Shuewu instantly crossed more than 10 meters and swept her sword at Murong Ying. Clang. However, Murong Ying raised her slender leg and kicked Luo Shuewu's sword high into the air. However, at this moment, Luo Shuewu waved her palm. With a cold frost air, she directly slapped Murong Ying's abdomen with an ice palm. However, Murong Ying also raised her right palm. Her palm was like fire. With a posture of a rooster standing on one leg, she met Luo Shuewu's palm. Bang! Their palms collided. Luo Shuewu's body immediately slid out. At the same time, her skin became a little red. In terms of internal force, Murong Ying was obviously much stronger than Luo Shuewu. Moreover, Murong Ying showed mercy and did not use too much internal force. Humph! Luo Shuewu seemed to have expected that she was no match for Murong Ying in terms of internal force. However, she was unique and had an alternative way of attacking. Luo Shuewu took a step back and stabilized her body. Then, her palm turned white. She directly put it on the blade of her sword and wiped it. A layer of white frost immediately condensed on this shining sword. A layer of white ice actually formed on the blade of the sword, turning it into an ice sword. Murong Ying, take this. Luo Shuewu once again came in front of Murong Ying. She waved the ice sword in her hand repeatedly. With a bone-chilling cold air, she tried to hurt Murong Ying. However, Murong Ying was unmoved. She slightly opened her hands and controlled the internal force in her body. It condensed into pink cherry blossoms and rotated in front of her. Like a shield, it constantly blocked Luo Shuewu's ice sword. Murong Ying's talent of turning nothingness into reality seemed to have become much stronger after she reached the martial saint level. You're very good. Murong Ying's eyes sparkled with persistence. But I'm not the Murong Ying of the past. As she spoke, she suddenly aimed at a gap in Luo Shuewu's attack. 2 fingers suddenly touched the blade of her sword. Chapter 16:14. Clang. The cherry blossom shot out, and the ice sword in Luo Shuewu's hand was broken. Luo Shuewu was also sent flying. She looked at the broken sword in her hand in shock. Her ice blade was filled with internal energy, but it was broken so easily by Murong Ying. Murong Ying's strength had improved to that level again. Luo Shuewu landed on the ground and stared at the broken sword in her hand. She didn't come back to her senses for a long time. Murong Ying stood there with her hands behind her back and said loudly, Luo Shuewu, do you admit defeat? I don't. Luo Shuewu said sternly. Then, all her hair flew up. Every strand of hair turned snow-white, and the blue muslin dress on her also fluttered. Thick frost appeared at the place where Luo Shuewu stood. White snowflakes floated down from the clear sky. The spectators on the stands were shocked. There was actually such a powerful force that could affect the weather. The host also exclaimed repeatedly, calling for a miracle. At this moment, Luo Shuewu was like a snow woman. She stood on the ground with one foot and looked coldly at Murong Ying in front of her. I didn't expect that after so many years, your mysterious ice chi has been trained to such a level. Murong Ying couldn't help but praise, you're indeed the leader of Sword Reliance. These words are like sarcasm coming from the mouth of leader Murong. Luo Xuewu was unwilling. No matter how much she improved, she couldn't catch up with Murong Ying's pace. Could it be that only she had the strength and talent to follow by Li Fan's side? She was also a proud daughter of heaven. Why? I said it out of sincerity to praise you. If you don't appreciate it, then forget it. Murong Ying naturally wouldn't explain. She stretched out her hand, and 2 swords condensed from cherry blossoms appeared in her hand. I will use my strongest move to defeat you to show my respect. Seeing Murong Ying standing on one leg and holding the 2 swords, Li Fan couldn't help but be surprised. Good heavens, she's actually going to use the Yin-Yang Dragon and Phoenix Sword by herself. In Jin Yong's novel, Xiao Longnu learned how to fight left and right, so she could use the Jade Maiden Plain Sword alone. Could it be that Murong Ying had done it in the same way? This woman was indeed terrifyingly powerful. Take this. Luo Xuewu circulated her profound ice true chi and prepared to give Murong Ying a palm strike. With her current palm strength, no matter who it was, she could freeze them. However, the moment she raised her hand, Murong Ying had already appeared behind her with 2 swords in her hands. Dancing Dragon and Phoenix. The first form of the Yin-Yang Dragon and Phoenix Sword was activated, and Falling Snow Dance had no way of fighting back. Bloody wounds appeared on her legs, arms, and shoulders. Blood spurted out, and she fell heavily to the ground, losing the ability to fight. Looks like contestant Luo Xuewu is no longer able to fight. But what just happened? The host asked this question on behalf of all the audience. Previously, Murong Ying was too fast, the audience didn't even see her movements, and Luo Xuewu had already been defeated. As expected of the previous generation's martial arts alliance master, her strength is indeed outstanding. Let us congratulate contestant Murong Ying, and also give encouragement to contestant Luo Xuewu. Amidst the cheers and applause of the crowd, Luo Xuewu was helped down by the staff, and Murong Ying also returned to her contestant seat. Luo Xuewu was really not bad, but the opponent she faced was too terrifying. Li Fan also felt pity for Luo Xuewu, who asked Murong Ying to be strong. Among these people, there were only a few who could win against Murong Ying. With Murong Ying's level of controlling the Yin-Yang Dragon and Phoenix Sword alone, Li Fan felt that even he might not be able to defeat her without using the Heavenly Thunder transformation. He was still the great god of the universe. He actually created such a powerful kung fu like the Heavenly Thunder transformation according to his own attributes. They were not from the same plane, otherwise, if he made a move, he would probably destroy Beyond Heaven in minutes. Under everyone's expectant gaze, let us start the next round of contestant selection. This time, which 2 strong people will fight? While the host was speaking, the big screen had already begun to rotate the photos of the contestants. Soon, a figure stood out and was reflected on the big screen. Oh, this contestant is a beautiful little girl. The host saw the figure in the photo and couldn't help but praise, there are so many beautiful women signing up for this year's martial arts competition. It seems that kung fu and beauty are not exclusive. Let us welcome this contestant. Her name is Liang Ayu. She is so young, but she holds a mysterious position in Huaxia, the Shongfang sword. Everyone, look, contestant Liang Ayu has already walked into the arena. The sword on her back is the legendary Shongfang sword. I heard that it has been passed down for thousands of years. The value of this sword alone is already immeasurable. Liang Ayu's appearance caused the audience to cheer again. This was the effect of a beautiful woman. Li Fan looked at Liang Ayu, wanting to see how she would perform. Oh my, contestant Liang Ayu is only 19 years old. She is the youngest contestant in this year's martial arts competition. Her opponent, oh my god, is the leader of the Kongtong sect, Long Bailey. The audience's hearts were in their mouths. This beautiful little girl was going to lose against a sect leader. From the audience's reaction, it seems that sect leader Long has a higher chance of winning. This sect leader Long is already 40 years old, but he still looks like a young man in his prime. The Kongtong sect he leads is a large sect that has been passed down for hundreds of years in Huaxia. The Kongtong sect is located on the Kongtong mountain in Pingliang, Gansu province. The local customs there are very attractive. While the host was rambling, Long Bailey, wearing a black short-sleeved shirt, walked into the arena with a majestic gait. When he saw Liang Ayu standing opposite him, he couldn't help but laugh. "Little girl, you are participating in this martial arts competition at such a young age. I am a grandmaster, the leader of the Kongtong sect. It doesn't seem right to bully you like this. How about this? I will let you make 3 moves first." Long Bailey had always been arrogant. He was confident in his profound skills and didn't take Liang Ayu seriously. No need. Liang Ayu's temper was like that of a stubborn donkey. She was also extremely proud. She didn't allow Long Bailey to look down on her. She immediately pulled out the Shongfang sword on her back. The sword lit up with a light yellow light. The Shongfang sword provided its own energy to Liang Ayu and sent it into her body. In the next second, Liang Ayu felt as if she had changed. Her ears and eyes became sharper and she had infinite strength. Swoosh! Liang Ayu's body carried a fragrant wind as she streaked across the arena and instantly appeared in front of Long Bailey. According to the method that Li Fan taught her, Liang Ayu stabbed at Long Bailey in a row. There was no need for any skills or experience. Liang Ayu just relied on her own strength and speed to stab crazily. Chapter 16:15. There was an old saying that went, "A random punch could kill an old master." Moreover, Liang Ayu had inherited the power of the Shongfang sword. The speed and strength of each sword strike were perfect. Just a moment ago, Long Bailey was still boasting that he was awesome and wanted to let his opponent have 3 moves. At this moment, he was also stunned by this crazy stab. He hurriedly raised his true chi and poured his inner force into his hands. He used the roaring flame saber technique to continuously block Liang Ayu's stab. However, he was still stabbed a few times, and blood kept spurting out from his body. Blazing sun illumination. In the end, Long Bailey had no choice but to transfer all the internal energy in his body and gather it on his palms. Both of his palms struck out at the same time, like the blazing sun in the sky. Just as Liang Ayu felt the blinding light, her body was sent flying by the internal force and she landed far away. Phew! Long Bailey tapped on his body a few times to temporarily stop the bleeding. Then, he looked at Liang Ayu, who had stabilized her body, with some horror. How could this little girl be so powerful? Liang Ayu was also very surprised. She did not expect that the sword-drawing method that Li Fan taught her would be so useful. No wonder people say that among all the martial arts in the world, only speed is unbeatable. Little did she know that Li Fan had actually researched this sword technique based on a set of martial arts from Jin Yong's book. What were the martial arts in the book? Of course it was the Bixie swordplay. In fact, Li Fan felt that in Jin Yong's book, especially in the smiling, proud wanderer, the strongest swordplay should be the Bixie swordplay, not the solitary 9 sword. The reason why Lin Pingji lost to Ling Huchong was that he didn't have enough time to practice and his inner force foundation was not stable. As for Yu Buchuan, he lost to Ling Huchong because of Ling Huchong's powerful martial arts set. Solitary 9 swords plus absorbing stars, great technique plus Yi Jin scripture. Among them, Dongfang Bubai was the one who had practiced the evil warding sword the most powerful. Although it was called the Sunflower Treasured Manual, in the end, it was still a set of martial arts. If Ling Huchong didn't join hands with Ren Wuxing, and if Yang Lianting didn't drag them down, Dongfang Bubai wouldn't have lost. Among all the martial arts in the world, only speed was unbeatable. This set of Bixie sword art could be said to be the sword intent of the Sunflower Treasure Manual. It could be summed up in one word: fast. It was as if Dongfang Bubai had an embroidery needle in his hand, and with a casual stab, he could execute a terrifying killing move. Liang Ayu closed in on Long Bailey once again. She used the same trick as before. She threw out a set of rapid thrusts, thrusting towards Long Bailey. Li Fan couldn't help but smile bitterly. This lass really didn't know when to stop. Although her sword was fast, it was the most ordinary random stabs. This fast sword had reached a high level. It should be like Murong Ying, who didn't easily use her sword, but when she used her sword, she would hit a vital point. Although Long Bailey was a little flustered at the beginning, he was, after all, an experienced fighter. He quickly adapted to Liang Ayu's rhythm. Although Liang Ayu's sword was fast, he quickly retreated and dodged her attacks. Soon, Liang Ayu was a little tired, and sweat appeared on her forehead. Even with the power provided by the Shongfang sword, she still found it a little hard to endure such a high-frequency combo. Soon, Liang Ayu slowed down her pace, but at this moment, Long Bailey suddenly attacked. He directly passed through Liang Ayu's attack range and chopped Liang Ayu's shoulder with a knife hand. Bang! Fortunately, Liang Ayu had the power to protect her body. Otherwise, she might not be able to keep her arm. Even so, she was still sent flying high into the air. Liang Ayu somersaulted in the air, barely stabilized her body, and then landed on the ground. But even so, she still looked a little painful as she knelt on the ground. The corner of Long Bailey's mouth hung a complacent smile. This lass wanted to fight with him, but she was still too inexperienced. The strongest part of his roaring flame blade was that he could send inner force into the opponent's body. Long Bailey's inner force was incomparably scorching. He could adapt to it, but the opponent couldn't. Once the inner force entered the opponent's body, it would immediately cause damage to the opponent's meridians. This lass in front of him actually injured him. He really couldn't forgive her. "Young lady, it's already not bad that you can injure me." As Long Bailey spoke, he gathered his inner force on his hands. His hands became incomparably red. True chi boiled and twisted on them, like half of a burning flame. "But that's all there is to your strength. You're nothing more than a stepping stone for me." As he spoke, Long Bailey used his Kongtong sect's unique Qinggong, shattering mountains and rivers, and leaped towards Liang Ayu. Liang Ayu hurriedly took 2 steps back. Long Bailey landed in front of her and stomped heavily on the ground. With a bang, the ground trembled slightly, and Liang Ayu's body also swayed. At this moment, Long Bailey's hands danced with the roaring flame blade. Swish swish. 2 blades landed solidly on Liang Ayu's body. Liang Ayu's clothes were sliced open, and fresh blood and skin splattered out. Li Fan slammed the table and stood up. This Long Bailey, fighting is one thing, but he actually took the opportunity to act like a hooligan. Under everyone's gaze, a golden light wrapped around Liang Ayu, wrapping her up like a giant golden egg, and landed on the ground at the side. Heavens, what is this? Giant golden egg? The host was still worried at first, but when he saw this giant egg, he couldn't help but mutter, "Our contestant Liang Ayu, does she still have any special moves that she hasn't used?" Just as he voiced his doubts, Long Bailey didn't want to hesitate. In order to prevent any accidents from happening, he immediately jumped towards the giant egg. Catcher! At this moment, the golden egg cracked open, and Liang Ayu jumped out from inside. At this moment, Liang Ayu was wearing a golden battle robe and holding an Shongfang sword in her hand. Her heroic spirit was overbearing, as if she was a goddess of war. Liang Ayu's eyes turned golden. She waved her sword, and a golden sword chi immediately swept over, attacking Long Bailey's body. Long Bailey didn't expect that there would be such a move. His hand blade barely blocked the sword chi, and he was sent flying. Long Bailey somersaulted a few times in the air before he barely landed on the edge of the stage. Both of his hands were still trembling, and the skin on his hands had been ruptured. Fresh blood flowed out, dyeing his hands red. Heavens, our contestant Liang Ayu seems to have changed into a different person. What did she just wave out? Is it sword chi? The host was dumbstruck, and the audience was also crying out in surprise. This was the first time they saw such an attack. Imperial sword technique. Liang Ayu's hands separated, and the Shongfang sword directly flew into the air, revolving around Liang Ayu. Unbelievable. Could it be the Imperial sword technique? Our Chinese martial arts expert can actually use qi to control the sword. I think many of the audience are the same as me, and it's an eye-opener. It's just magic. Bai Sen, who was sitting in the contestant's seat, saw this scene, but he was disdainful. Chinese people just like to use fancy things, but they don't have any practical value. Just as Bai Sen was ridiculing, the sword suddenly shot out, and instantly appeared in front of Long Bailey. I won't eat your moves anymore. As Long Bailey spoke, and Shong Fang's sword appeared in front of him. I won't be fooled again. Long Bailey forcibly controlled himself and did not take the sword. However, the treasured sword was solid. It directly pierced through his lower abdomen and came out from his back. Long Bailey took a few steps back and widened his eyes. Then, he knelt on the ground. The match is over. Seeing that Long Bailey had been fatally injured and had lost his ability to fight, the host hurriedly announced the result. Liang Aryu relied on the Shong Fang sword to defeat the leader of the Kongtong sect. This kind of attack method was an eye-opener for many people. Illusory sword. The Shong Fang sword really lives up to its name. The eyes of Wang Zhan, Yu Shu, and the others lit up. However, they were true masters after all. After the battle, they also had a way to deal with the illusory sword. Even if they met Liang Aryu in the next match, they also had a way to deal with the illusory sword. How was it? Did I perform well? Liang Aryu immediately sent a WeChat message to Li Fan after returning to the contestants' seats. You did perform well, but it's all thanks to the sword soul. Li Fan's words made Liang Aryu unhappy. The little girl rolled her eyes. You also have to learn more from the sword soul and absorb their combat experience. I know. Stop being so long-winded. It's your turn in a while. Don't lose. Thank you for your concern. Li Fan was neither servile nor overbearing. He just stood there and looked at the arena outside. In the next round, who would be fighting who? Under the expectant gazes of the audience, we welcome the third match of the day. The round of 16 was indeed unusual. In just a short while, 2 people had already advanced. Will the third round of the round of 16 be as smooth as before? Let's wait and see. Soon, the third round of the round of 16 was announced. The Shaolin Abbot, Master Yu Shu, was up against the American superstar, Hero Number 9. The old abbot stared at the baldy, pressed his palms together, and slowly walked into the arena. As for Number 9, he was dressed in his familiar black uniform and cloak. Like a hero on television, he descended from the sky and landed in front of Yu Shu with a bang. It's the American superhero, Number 9, who has appeared. He's indeed an idol-like figure. His appearance is also so cool. Half of the audience is cheering for him. It seems that this superhero is very popular. Number 9's popularity in the West was at the level of a nuclear bomb. His appearance excited the fans. These fans were all wearing Number 9's clothing and cheering for him. Number 9, I love you. Go, Number 9. Defeat that evil monk. You're the strongest. Upon hearing these cheers, the enlightened monk was a little dumbfounded. Amitabha. When did I become evil? Ignore them. Number 9 crossed his arms and stood in front of the old monk. Make your move. Amitabha. Benefactor, you are too polite. Watch this old monk's 1000 Buddha palm. Yu Shu was indeed Yu Shu. His decades of cultivation were not for nothing. He was just like a meditating old Buddha, but in the blink of an eye, he moved like lightning. With a yellow beam of light, he instantly appeared in front of Number 9. At the same time, 1000 Buddha palm went straight for Number 9's forehead. Number 9 was still hugging his arms as if he could not react in time. He was directly slapped in the forehead by Yu Shu. Bam! Master Yu Shu was like an Asura during the match. He did not hold back. 1000 Buddha palm had astonishing power. The ground under Number 9's feet directly shattered. Rubble and bricks flew everywhere. Amitabha. Benefactor. Are you alright? Yu Shu was also a little regretful. He could not control himself during the fight and was a little too ruthless. I'm fine. Number 9 stood there with her arms crossed, replying indifferently. Ah. Am I? Tuo. Buddha. Not only Yu Shu, all the Shaolin disciples in the surrounding stands let out a Buddhist chant. It was too shocking. He took a direct hit from their abbot's 1,000 Buddha palm and was actually unscathed. Old monk, continue. Chapter 16-17. As soon as number 9 finished her words, a beautiful blonde girl holding a megaphone shouted from the spectator stand. As a hero, you must speak politely. You must call him master. The megaphone was extremely loud with an ear-piercing screech, causing the security guards to run over and take away the girl's tools. Number 9 coughed twice and corrected herself. Master, please continue. Li Fan was dumbfounded in the contestants' seating area. Fuck, was this the number 9 he knew? The current number 9 was not domineering at all. Instead, he looked like a bronchitis. Fuck, he was a man cloned with his own genes. How could he be a bronchitis? He should be like me, domineering and unparalleled, making women obey him. Look at me, Li Fan. When have I ever listened to a woman's manipulation? Li Fan, if you and I fight later, you must use all your strength. No mercy. Do you hear me? Li Fan was filled with righteous indignation when he suddenly received a voice message from Murong Ying on his WeChat. Yes. Li Fan replied obediently. The competition was still going on. Although number 9 was provoking him, Master Yu Shu had a high state of mind. Naturally, he would not fall for it. Amitabha, almsgiver has a strong body. It's like becoming a Buddha or a saint. This old monk admires you. What Buddha? What saint? It's all bullshit. Number 9 said, what Buddha? What saint? It's all bullshit. Because the contestants were all wearing microphones, their words could be heard clearly by everyone in the audience. Therefore, number 9's words caused the fans to scream again. Each of them was extremely excited. Amitabha, if almsgiver has no Buddha in his heart, he is either good or evil. What is good? What is evil? Number 9 said, I once saw a drug lord who killed countless people. In order to save his old mother, he was willing to sacrifice his organs even if he lost his life. Tell me, is such a person good or evil? Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha. Since he has the heart to repent, that is good. But in order to find the remaining organs that could be used, he captured 100 undocumented immigrants and gave them their hearts one by one. Was that good or evil? Even Yu Shu was speechless for a moment. In Huaxia, a man named Han Fizi once said that human nature is evil, so people can't be weighed by good and evil. They can only be restrained by the law. Number 9 said loudly, those who break the law must be punished. Even if it was a small evil, he couldn't let it go. Some people were good at exploiting loopholes in the law. After all, the law was dead. But I am alive. I am number 9, and I am also the Punisher. Li Fan thought, why does number 9 speak so smoothly? Could it be that the female reporter named Windsor taught him these words? At this time, the host also spoke. Number 9's discussion with Grandmaster seems to have some reason. Our Huaxia is also a country governed by law, but the law must be enforced by the Law Enforcement Department, and justice cannot be proclaimed by one person. The host's words did not receive the approval of most people, but what he said was the most basic truth. In this place, the individual cannot be greater than the law. Even a national hero like Li Fan had to be restricted. This was different from number 9. He was in the United States, and the people there pursued heroes and freedom. Everyone naturally had their own values. In other words, they had their own gods and Buddhas. Grandmaster Yu Shu didn't bother arguing with number 9. Instead, he continued to use his 1,000 Buddha palms to fight number 9. Number 9 was still hugging his arms like an Iron Man, allowing the old monk's iron palms to land on his body. Peng peng peng. Explosions rang out continuously, and a strong energy exploded from number 9's body, striking the surrounding area. But no matter how Yu Shu attacked, number 9 was perfectly fine, as if he wasn't injured at all. Amitabha, the old monk finally saw something and couldn't help but sigh. I am not your match, I admit defeat. This Shaolin abbot, the leader of the martial arts world, admitted defeat after a few blows. Everyone around was shocked, But those who bet on number 9 to win all laughed out loud. Look, number 9 is still the strongest. The Bank of the World's boss nodded his head in satisfaction. My previous actuary must have gone mad. If I followed his plan, I would have lost everything. Chinese people can't be trusted, so I can help you earn so much money. The German actuary said confidently. In his prediction, number 9 and the fierce white tiger would meet in the finals, and the person who would win would definitely be number 9, but as a bet, there had to be a way. Otherwise, if everyone favored number 9 and bet on it, they would lose miserably. So, for such a competition, they would usually use time as a way to increase the fun of the bet. For example, if number 9 defeated the fierce white tiger, they would give him a handicap of 10. What did this handicap mean? It meant that number 9 had to defeat the fierce white tiger within 10 minutes for it to be considered his win. If he didn't win within 10 minutes, then it would be considered his win. In this way, there would be people betting on the fierce white tiger. This time, number 9 won by a handicap of 7. After all, the Shaolin abbot, Master Yu Shu, was the leader of the martial arts world, and his strength was recognized. So, the bet was for number 9 to defeat Master Yu Shu within 7 minutes. Many people thought that Yu Shu was an expert, and Shaolin had been the strongest sect in China since ancient times. Wasn't there a saying that all the martial arts in the world originated from Shaolin? In the past, there was a Shaolin temple movie that was popular all over the world. So, a lot of money was spent on Yu Shu. 7 minutes. Didn't the Shaolin abbot have some golden bell shield and iron shirt? He should be able to hold on, right? Who would have thought that he would admit defeat within 2 minutes? A large sum of money entered the bank, and the boss was overjoyed. Many gamblers cried on the rooftop. Number 9 is a well-deserved hero of the United States. He defeated the leader of the martial arts world, Master Yu Shu. The host was also promoting number 9 for the sake of the atmosphere. Many people in the arena are still shouting number 9's name. I wonder if the Huaxia expert who will face him in the next battle will be able to turn the tables. Li Fan sat in the contestant's seat and fell into deep thought. Number 9's strength seemed to have increased a lot. At least, he was much stronger than the last time he went to Li Family Island to find his clone. He was indeed a comrade with his own genes. It made sense that he was strong. The name list for the 4th round is out. It's Li Yun from China's valiant sect against our black boxing champion, Bai Sen. The crowd cheered again, and the information of the two appeared on the big screen. At this time, the bank also started operating. According to the actuary's calculations, the boss gave the two a handicap. Bai Sen defeated Li Yun, handicap of 3. Chapter 1618. Bai Sen was a famous black boxing champion, and no one dared to underestimate his strength. It was said that even the fierce white tiger would have to be courteous to Bai Sen when it met him. Bai Sen's fists were fast and fierce, and he was known as the Bullet Fist King. In other words, his fists had the same speed and power as a bullet. At this moment, Bai Sen was fighting against an unknown Chinese martial master, and almost all the Westerners were looking at Bai Senator. Even the Easterners themselves did not have any hope for Li Yun, a person from the heroic martial sect, who they had never heard of before. One must know that they often went to watch Bai Sen's boxing matches. They had personally seen a video of Bai Sen punching a cow's head. This kind of terrifying arm strength was not something that just anyone could have, right? Especially when Li Yun appeared, everyone couldn't help but sympathize with him when they saw his thin and weak body. This brother was definitely going to be very miserable. Li Fan patted the dust off his clothes, and under the host's voice, he stood in front of the black and rough Bai Senator. Although Bai Sen was not 2 meters tall, he was at least 1.9 meters. The muscles on his body were streamlined and very full. With one look, one could tell that he was a person who often fought. Moreover, he trained himself very well, and his body was also maintained at its peak condition. Oh my God, our heroic martial sect's little contestant actually met the Bullet Fist King Bai Sen. He is really too unlucky. The host exclaimed, I really don't know if our contestant Li can last a little longer under Bai Sen's hand. Bai Sen's chances of winning against Li Fan was 3%. As long as Li Fan could last for 3 minutes without losing, he would be the winner in the Bank of the World's bet. It was only 3 minutes. It seemed that no one was optimistic about Li Fan at all. It's time for the match, let's pray for contestant Li. Li Fan felt that the host's voice was a little noisy. Bai Sen swayed his arms, and his feet stepped on the unique footwork of a boxer, jumping back and forth a few steps. He was like a powerful hunter staring at his pitiful prey. There were many Bai Sen fans around, and they were all cheering for Bai Sen, shouting his name in unison. Each wave was stronger than the last. The martial emperor sat in his competitor's area and lightly harumphed as he looked at the scene outside. Although you have changed your appearance, I can still recognize you at a glance. Li Fan, do you see that? Even if you work hard for these people, they still don't care about you. Every man for himself, and heaven and earth destroy him. I should be the one to lead and educate these foolish people. The bank boss sat in front of the television and watched the broadcast. He laughed coldly to himself. Poor Huaxia monkey, you will soon become my money tree. The signal for the start of the match rang out. Bai Sen's fans were ready to celebrate their boxing champion. Bai Sen quickly moved forward. He was extremely fast in his galloping state. With a gust of wind, he arrived in front of Li Fan. Then, he threw a quick punch at Li Fan's nose. Bai Sen didn't hold back. The Chinese man in front of him had blocked his attack before. He wasn't weak and definitely couldn't be underestimated. In everyone's eyes, Li Fan's head would definitely be smashed by this punch and he would be sent flying. But they were wrong. Li Fan just reached out with one hand and blocked Bai Sen's fist. With a peng, energy exploded from Li Fan's palm. Bai Sen's fist wasn't weak. You have some skill, Bai Sen said as he pulled out his fist from Li Fan's hand and threw a series of quick punches at Li Fan. Peng peng peng. The air exploded as Bai Sen threw no less than 30 punches in the blink of an eye. But Li Fan had one hand behind his back and the other in front of him, blocking all the punches. God, the Bullet Fist King lives up to his name. His fists are as fast as bullet. But Li Fan isn't any weaker. He is thin and weak, but he is on par with Bai Sen. As the host spoke, Li Fan suddenly moved his body horizontally, and then punched out with both fists, heavily hitting Bai Sen's chest. Ahut strikes the bell. This was the move that Liu Bufan taught Li Fan. It was also the basic boxing technique of the Shaolin sect. It actually sent Bai Sen flying and he fell heavily to the ground, lying there. Unbelievable. Li Yun actually sent the boxing champion Bai Sen flying. Without waiting for Bai Sen to stand up, Li Fan flew forward again and kicked Bai Sen's head, sending him flying and crashing outside the ring. Bai Sen fainted there, motionless. He had lost the right to compete. The audience quietened down. Bai Sen's fans were stunned, the audience in front of the TV was stunned, and even the bank's boss was stunned. The boxing champion Bai Sen actually lost. Oh yeah. Teresa waved her little fists excitedly in the stands, while Liu Bufan sat not far away, completely dumbfounded. Oh my God, what's going on? Junior brother is actually this strong. I even tried to guide him, but he turned out to be the real expert. I've practiced the Ahut fist for half my life, but I'm not as effective as junior brother. Shameful, this is too shameful. Fortunately, junior brother's character is not bad, so he probably won't laugh at me. But seeing Teresa's expression that seemed to be smiling yet not smiling, he felt like dying. But he did not know that the one who wanted to die the most was the bank's boss. Damn it. What kind of magic did this Hua Xia person use to actually defeat Bai Sen? Damn it, I've lost miserably in this match. Although it was not to the extent of hurting his muscles and bones, it still made his heart ache. Alright, there are gains and losses. I'll make you lose everything in the next match to me. The bank's boss's eyes revealed a vengeful glint. It's really unexpected. Li Fan could hear the sound of the host swallowing his saliva. Our China's heroic martial sect's little contestant, Li Yun, defeated the boxing champion Bai Sen and won the top 16. No matter what, this is a miracle. Let us be happy for him. A round of applause finally came from the stands. Many of the Chinese spectators also shouted Li Yun's name. Whether they supported him or not, Li Fan actually did not care. But hearing that everyone was cheering for him, Li Fan still felt a little happy. No matter what time it was always good to know that there were people supporting him. "Dear, do you want to go back and celebrate? I'll accompany you." Li Fan received a WeChat message from Teresa. This girl, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. She actually registered a WeChat account in China. "No, I want to see my next opponent. You better watch too. You'll have a new understanding of Kung Fu." "Alright, a man with no taste." Teresa could only send a crying emoji. The contestants for the next match are out. Let us see who they are. Chapter 16-19. In a short while, half of the top 16 had already passed. Li Fan was also looking forward to the participants in the 5th round of the competition. The demonic sect's holy maiden against the Kunlun sect leader. This woman who claims to be the solipsism holy maiden has a mysterious identity. Even our competition committee does not know her identity. The host looked at the masked holy maiden and expressed his regret. "I'm sorry. We can only provide this information because the tradition of the Martial Circle Assembly is to respect the privacy of every participant. If the other party is not willing to reveal her identity, we can only accept it." This kind of situation would only appear in the Martial Circle Assembly jointly organized with the underworld. And her opponent is the sect leader of Kunlun, one of the 6 major sects in Huaxia, Miao Chen. The host finally had someone to introduce. Miao Chen is 39 years old this year. He leads Kunlun, a famous sect in Huaxia. Kunlun sect is located in Qinghai's Kunlun Mountain. It is also an immortal-like holy land. Friends who have the opportunity to go to Kunlun Mountain, why not go to Kunlun sect to take a look? It is said that Kunlun produces immortals. Although I have never seen an immortal, this sect leader Miao has the demeanor of an immortal. Miao Chen stood in front of the holy maiden. This so-called immortal-like sect leader had an ugly expression. "Demonic sect scum, Jianghu people, everyone has the right to punish you. As the demonic sect's holy maiden, you actually dare to appear. You really have guts. Ox nose, you can't scare me." The saintess had one hand on her slender waist and the other was playing with a sword. When Li Fan saw this sword, his gaze tightened. 4 elephants' sword. My God, my good little brother really lent his sword to the holy maiden. Looks like this time, the demonic sect is determined to obtain the alliance leader's reward. The holy maiden's voice was enchanting, carrying a bit of charm, as if the 9-tailed divine fox was reincarnated. Her pair of spring water-like eyes looked at Miao Chen and provoked. The rules of the Martial Circle Assembly is that all grudges in Jianghu should be settled in the arena. Why, Ox Nose, could it be that you wish to ignore the rules set by the Sky Martial Pavilion and bring your disciples and grand disciples to kill me here? Miao Chen swept his horsetail whisk. Don't be so arrogant. This poor Daoist alone can end you. Kunlun Mountain was also a Daoist martial arts sect. Every sect leader would become a Daoist priest, but they were also Daoist priests who ate meat and drank wine. This Miao Chen looked to be serious, but he actually had a large number of wives and concubines, and he'd never followed the rules of Taoism. Although Miao Chen didn't like to talk normally, but when it came to the matters of the devil cult, he also showed his abhorrence of evil. Last time at the 7 Chivalry Mountain Villa, I thought that Miao Chen was quite low-key. Li Fan crossed his legs and looked at Miao Chen on the stage. Now that I've seen you today, it turns out that you're someone who likes to pinch soft persimmons. Do you think that I'm a pushover and easy to bully? The saintess also saw through Miao Chen's thoughts. If you want to defeat me, you'll have to try the 4-elephant sword in my hands first. This sword is really in the hands of your devil cult. Miao Chen's eyes looked at the sword, and greed flashed in his eyes. Back then, the little overlord Li Fan lost this sword. Today, let this poor Daoist take it back. Feel free to try. The saintess sneered. As the competition began, she directly waved her hand. Sword chi crisscrossed, and a fierce white tiger pounced out of the void. Then, it turned into 4 clones, and pounced towards Miao Chen from 4 sides. What is this? The host was dazzled by what he saw. This Saintess contestant actually conjured 4 fierce tigers. Today's martial arts tournament has really broadened my horizons. I believe that the audience present also feels the same way. What he said was indeed correct. These audience members had never seen this before. A treasured sword that could turn illusions into reality. This kind of treasure was rarely seen even in the martial arts world. For thousands of years, there was only one 4-elephant sword. What the people of the martial arts world wanted the most was the true immortal art that could allow one to become an immortal. The second was the 9 Buddha Sutra that could allow one to become immortal. The third was the 4-elephant sword that could turn illusions into reality. Now that the 4-elephant sword and the true immortal art had appeared together, how could Miao Chen not be secretly delighted? First come, first served. Since he was the first to see it, then this 4-elephant sword belonged to him. Miao Chen did not pay any attention to those 4 fierce tigers at all. Miao Chen looked at the 4 fierce tigers and displayed the elegant wind god's legs. She easily kicked out 4 times, and the 4 white tigers that pounced towards her were all kicked to pieces. Li Fan could not help but feel a little regretful. It seemed that the Saintess did not make any progress. Even if she held the 4-elephant sword, she would not be able to display the true power of this sword. Demon girl, you are not worthy of this 4-elephant sword. Give it to this poor daoist. As Miao Chen said that, she displayed the 8 steps cloud-treading qigong. In an instant, she flew more than 10 meters away. Her figure was extremely elegant and at ease. She was like a true immortal that had descended to the mortal world. It was pleasing to the eye. He forced his way to the front of the Saintess. With a series of wind god's legs, he kicked out a series of afterimages. He was prepared to defeat the Saintess in one move. But at this moment, the corners of the Saintess' eyes had a hint of a smile. She held the long sword with both hands and let out a delicate cry. Black tortoise. The huge dragon turtle wrapped around the Saintess' body. The sword chi on it directly sent Miao Chen's body flying. No matter how exquisite Miao Chen's wind god's legs were, at this moment, she had no choice but to fall into a somewhat awkward situation. Go to hell. The Saintess' body suddenly emitted a red light. Her strength instantly increased by at least 10 times. When Li Fan saw this scene, he could not help but stand up. So strong. At this moment, the Saintess' strength had actually risen to the Grandmaster realm. Was this her original strength, or had she used some kind of secret technique to increase her strength? But no matter which one it was, Miao Chen was going to be out of luck. Sure enough, before Miao Chen could react, under his horrified and distorted gaze, the Saintess had already raised the 4-elephant sword and flung out a vermilion bird sword chi. The vermilion bird that was burning with flames was the size of a peacock. It flew out in an instant. Its speed was as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, it passed through Miao Chen's body. Poochie. An arm that was burning with flames fell off. Miao Chen let out a blood-curdling scream. He revolved his true chi to shatter the flames that continued to burn around the wound. After that, he stopped his own blood. Finally, he fell to the ground. Unable to stabilize his body, he tumbled down. His originally combed hair had also come undone. This Kunlun Taoist priest no longer had that celestial-like demeanor from before. His hair was disheveled, and half of his body was charred black. He looked as miserable as one could imagine. You've lost. The Saintess sheathed her sword. This is the martial tournament. Bloody, cruel, but also filled with the glory of the martial artists. The host's voice rang out again. If this was an ordinary martial arts competition, I'm afraid the Saintess would have already lost the qualifications to compete. But this is the martial tournament. Everything has its own rules. A few medical staff came up and carried the heavily injured Miao Chen away. Chapter 1620. The host was right. It was indeed a martial arts competition. Li Fan looked at the saintess who had defeated her opponent with a single move and couldn't help but mutter. I've really underestimated this saintess. It seems that she has had a fortuitous encounter after parting with me. However, the kung fu she's using is a little strange, and I've never seen it before. Besides, it's evil and doesn't seem like an orthodox kung fu. I have to ask Liu Zhu what kind of kung fu it is when I see him later. After all, she's the saintess, and Li Wei might have taught her the demonic technique. What kind of kung fu is that? The people of the 6 major sects were astonished. At that moment, the aura that the saintess exuded was as evil as Li Wei's. I've heard a little about it in the pugilistic world. Li Wei created the supremacy technique. Could it be that it's that terrifying evil technique? Wang Zhini was rather well informed. He stroked his mustache and secretly guessed. The 5th round of the competition ended in bloodshed. I sincerely hope that there will be less bloodshed and more peace in this martial arts competition. Of course, I know I'm a little silly, but I can't help but look forward to it after seeing the scene just now. Li Fan couldn't help but shake his head after hearing his words. How could there be no bloodshed in this martial arts competition that concerned the perfected immortal technique? If it weren't for such an international competition, the pugilistic world would have long been filled with blood. Next is the 6th group's competition. Let's see what kind of competition these 2 contestants will give us. The big screen continued to select the contestants, and soon, Jiang Feng, who was wearing the commander's uniform of the Imperial Guards, appeared on it suavely. Oh, this is a famous person in China. He's very popular, not just in the martial arts world, but also in the hearts of ordinary people. That's because he's the commander of the Imperial Guards, the handsome Grandmaster Jiang Feng, who's only 25 years old. To be honest, if I were a girl, I might have screamed at this moment too. The girls in the spectator stand screamed. Due to Jiang Feng's handsome and cool appearance, he had many female fans. The photo of his opponent was also displayed. It was Long Fengyu. This leader of Whistling West Wind was full of ambition. However, he was too unlucky to have encountered Jiang Feng during the martial arts competition. Oh, we just received a message from contestant Dragon. He has decided to admit defeat and withdraw from the top 16. In that case, Commander Jiang will win without a fight. The female fans screamed even louder, but Li Fan frowned. Although Long Fengyu was very smart and cunning, he wouldn't give up without even trying to probe Jiang Feng's strength, right? He should also have some trump cards. If he fought with his life on the line, it might affect Jiang Feng. Perhaps there was another possibility, and that was that he had joined forces with Jiang Feng, or reached some sort of agreement. In this way, Jiang Feng won perfectly and still retained his strength. On the other hand, Long Fengyu could also hide his trump card and use it at the most crucial moment. What 2 cunning foxes! Li Fan could not help but laugh bitterly. If the 2 of them were to join forces, it would really be a little troublesome. The next martial arts competition is between Qing Cheng sect leader Wang Zhenyi and Heroic Martial sect leader, Niu Xueyan. The host announced the name of the next martial arts competition. I think everyone is familiar with the name Qing Cheng. Qing Cheng sect also practices Daoist martial arts. The sect is located in Sichuan Dujiangyang's Qing Cheng Mountain, and his opponent is Niu Xueyan, who is also the senior brother of contestant Li Yun. As the senior brother of the sect leader, I'm afraid this contestant Niu's strength is even more terrifying, right? Niu Xueyan, Li Fan crossed his arms. He wanted to see the strength of this cheap senior brother. Under everyone's expectant gaze, the 2 of them appeared on the stage. Sect leader Wang did not show any mercy. He immediately used a secret technique. Everyone look, his claw grabbed towards sect leader Niu. This should be their Qing Cheng's secret technique, dragon capturing hand, right? Qing Cheng's high-level martial art, dragon capturing hand, is said to have the power to subdue dragons and tigers. But his opponent was not a dragon, nor was it a tiger, but a martial artist with the surname Niu. Niu Xueyan did not dodge, instead he took a step forward, followed by a clean straight punch, landing on Wang Zhenyi's lower abdomen. Dong! A muffled sound, Wang Zhenyi's body slid more than a meter away, while Niu Shuiyan's fist was still faintly emitting white smoke. Righteous fist. Seeing this familiar move, Li Fan immediately stood up. This was the fist technique of the righteous technique that Takeda created. This Niu Shuiyan actually practiced the Japanese Takeda family's martial arts. Fuck. Li Fan wanted to curse. Although everyone in the world practiced the martial arts of the world, a Huaxia person using Japanese martial arts to represent Huaxia in the martial arts competition still made Li Fan very unhappy. The righteous technique was very strong, and Takeda's righteous technique gave Li Fan a headache for a while. But when this Niu Shuiyan used it, its power was actually several times stronger. His strength was clearly above that of a grandmaster of a generation. Such a strong expert, whether in Huaxia or Japan, had never had a name. No matter how he thought about it, something was not right. Dragon chip. Li Fan clenched his fist. It seemed that all this was the effect of the dragon chip. Perhaps the reason why this Niu Shuiyan could be so strong, comparable to a grandmaster, was all because of the strengthening effect of the dragon chip. Wang Zhini, beat him up. Li Fan had never supported Wang Zhini so much. This time was an exception. But since he participated in the martial arts competition, he did not even bring his prized treasured sword. How could this Wang Zhini make such a mistake? Everyone in Jianghu knew that Wang Zhini was most proud of his green dragon 9-blade. Isn't he too arrogant? Wang Zhini was forced back by Niu Shuiyan's punch, but he did not panic, only somersaulting in the air. Yuan Deng Shan, this is the martial arts of Qingcheng. Qingcheng Mountain was steep, so they practiced Qinggong to be able to jump freely in the mountain streams. Wang Zhini's movement technique was the same. He somersaulted in the air and pounced towards Niu Shuiyan. Dragon catcher hand. Wang Zhini's claw directly grabbed the top of Niu Shuiyan's head. With the strength of his claw, even a rock would be crushed. However, Niu Shuiyan did not dodge. Instead, he took another step forward and punched again. Righteousness fist. This was the essence of the righteousness technique that was born from karate, pressing forward with indomitable will, using one's strength to defeat all. This punch caused the air to distort. Wang Zhini's claw collided with it, and was directly distorted. Following that, his whole body was sent flying and fell to the ground. Fart. Wang Zhini spat out a mouthful of blood. It seemed that he was not going to make it. Li Fan frowned. Both of them were grandmasters. How could Wang Zhini be defeated so easily? Chapter 1621. Your martial arts are powerful, I am impressed. Wang Zhini stood up and took 2 steps back. He held onto his wound and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The new generation excels the old. Looks like it's time for us old guys to give way to the newcomers. Wang Zhini said as he turned and left the arena. He gave up. Admitted defeat. Li Fan was in disbelief. Wang Zhini was an ambitious man. How could he admit defeat so easily? Was Niu Shuiyan's strength really strong enough to make him feel like he was looking at a tall mountain? Niu Shuiyan. Li Fan remembered this name. He wondered if he would meet this person in the upcoming matches. There was only one match left in the quarterfinals. They didn't need to go through the selections. Liao Ju versus Fierce White Tiger. Next up is the quarterfinals. The host took out the name list for the last match and started introducing. Without a doubt, every match in the quarterfinals will be exciting. The last match will be highly anticipated as well. Let us welcome the 2 contestants for the last match, Emperor Liao Ju and BWE's Fierce White Tiger. Emperor Liao Ju, this person who should have been killed was revived with the help of Outland. He wore a golden coat and floated down from the sky. He had the demeanor of an emperor as he landed on the arena. This contestant Liao claims to be the Emperor of China. Before the host could finish, Liao Ju raised a finger and said loudly with a voice imbued with immortal qi. This emperor will gladly accept the champion of this martial arts competition. Emperor Liao's declaration caused an uproar. My God, this contestant Liao Ju is indeed arrogant. He actually said such words. Will he really get what he wants? Or is this just an ordinary demonstration? Opposite him, The highly anticipated ferocious white tiger had also entered the arena. This fierce white tiger was 2 meters tall. He wore a white tight suit with black tiger stripes. On his head, he was also wearing a white tiger mask. This professional wrestler was like a ferocious tiger walking on its hind legs. He looked mighty and extraordinary, and his aura was astonishing. This Emperor Liao Shao is arrogant. The bank boss sat in front of the television and sneered, "Just him alone wants to win against our fierce white tiger. But this is also good. Let him heat up the atmosphere, and in this match, you will become a machine for me to break even." According to the calculations of the German actuary, the white tiger had a very high chance of winning against this martial emperor. It could give him a 50% handicap. "All right, go do it." The bank owner nodded. "This time, I want to earn back what I lost." The bets had already been placed. Many people saw that the ferocious white tiger was willing to give up 5. They thought to themselves that since this martial emperor could boast, he must be quite capable. He should be able to hold on for 5 minutes, right? Therefore, a large amount of money began to be injected into the martial emperor. It was as if the bank boss saw a mountain of gold placed in front of him. "That's right, throw more money at it. In the end, the money will all end up in my pocket." Seeing the martial monarch's provocation, the fierce white tiger stretched out its right hand and made a throat-slitting gesture. Contestant White Tiger has responded to the opponent's provocation. "Looks like this will be another bloody battle." With the host's voice, the final round of 16 had officially begun. However, the martial monarch was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he just stood there with his arms crossed and a smile that was not a smile. He looked at the fierce white tiger in front of him as if he was looking at a child, his eyes filled with ridicule. The fierce white tiger suddenly let out a roar and then started to run. Its speed was extremely fast as it closed in on the martial monarch. When he ran to the martial monarch's side, he jumped up and put his feet together. With a beautiful flying kick, he kicked towards the martial monarch's head. What a strong jumping ability! This is a textbook flying kick. The host shouted. The audience is already cheering. I wonder how the martial monarch will respond. The martial monarch was still hugging his arms. Facing the sudden fierce flying kick, he did not move at all. The audience thought that the martial monarch was scared silly, to the point that he did not even know how to dodge. But just when everyone thought that the martial monarch was finished, a golden divine dragon suddenly flew out from behind the martial monarch. This divine dragon was 3 meters long. With a swing of its tail, it sent the fierce white tiger flying. The people in the audience almost exploded. Dragon. This was a real Chinese divine dragon. This man called the martial monarch could actually summon a divine dragon? Unbelievable. It's actually a divine dragon. Looking at the golden divine dragon flying beside the martial monarch, the host and the audience cried out in shock. I can't believe it. Is this really a martial art? The people from the 6 great sects all stared with their eyes wide open. Could it be that the martial monarch had also trained in the void to reality technique? No, even if it was the void to reality technique, it would not be able to reach such a level. This emperor is not training in any martial arts. The martial monarch said proudly, "This emperor is training in the legendary celestial art. This emperor is the martial monarch, and what he is training in is the true celestial art." As he said that, the martial monarch sat on his dragon body and flew up. He floated about a meter in the air as he looked down at the fierce white tiger. What fierce white tiger? In front of this emperor, it is just a little cat. Quickly get up, fierce white tiger. The bank boss felt a chill down his spine as cold sweat appeared on his back. The fierce white tiger wouldn't lose just like that, right? He couldn't lose. If he lost, he would lose so much that he would cry. It's okay, even if that Chinese knew some magic, he wouldn't be a match for our fierce white tiger. After all, he knew about the fierce white tiger's bloodline. He was a true fierce tiger. Under everyone's gazes, the fierce white tiger stood up once again. The fierce white tiger's body also gave off a terrifying aura. Roar. The fierce white tiger roared as his entire body started to swell. In the blink of an eye, He swelled to nearly 3 meters tall. The clothes on his body were torn apart, revealing his original skin. At this moment, fur grew out of the fierce white tiger's skin and the tiger stripes on his body were bright. He tore off his mask and revealed his true tiger head as he stared at the martial monarch who was floating above his head. My view of the world has been turned upside down today. The host swallowed his saliva. I actually saw a fierce tiger. It's a true fierce white tiger. This is a beast from the west. Another voice rang out from the host's platform. The host turned his head in shock and realized that Jiang Feng had unknowingly sat beside him. "Ah, Commander Jiang, can you answer our questions?" "Sure." Jiang Feng nodded his head. He didn't need a microphone and the entire venue, the 100,000 people, could hear his voice. "Since I'm bored, let me explain it to you. As for me, I'm from Huaxia. Objectively speaking, I'm more optimistic about Martial Emperor." Jiang Feng chuckled. "However, even if the martial monarch wins, I will personally defeat him in the following matches. As expected of Commander Jiang. Let's wait and see." As the two of them were discussing, the ferocious white tiger returned to its beastman form and attacked the martial monarch once again. He leaped up and pounced towards the martial emperor from the sky. He directly grabbed the divine dragon's tail and threw it to the ground. The martial emperor also landed on the arena and steadied his body. The white tiger had already descended from the sky, its claws tearing towards the martial emperor's body. The martial emperor crossed his arms and continued to stand there. The divine dragon bit the white tiger's body and directly bit off the white tiger's legs. Amidst the screams of the crowd, the martial emperor's divine dragon opened its mouth and spat out half of the white tiger's body. It was all thanks to the beastman's strong body that he was still alive after receiving such an attack. The medical staff rushed over and carried him away. As for the bank's boss, his face was pale as he sat back on his chair. He felt weak all over and broke out in cold sweat. This time, he had lost more than half of his family's assets, and his company was on the verge of bankruptcy. "These damn Chinese, why are they so strong?" "Boss, don't worry, we still have a chance of winning." The actuary's voice was a little lacking in confidence. If he made another mistake, the boss would probably hire a killer to kill him. However, just like he said, they still had number 9. The powerful number 9 would definitely be able to defeat these opponents and win the final victory for them. "Let's bet everything on number 9. The boss could only gamble. Number 9 was the hero of the United States. He would definitely not let him down. At this time, he was a little regretful. If he had listened to the Chinese actuary, how good would it have been? He had been strategizing for so many years and had experienced so many storms and waves, but this time, he actually failed. "Number 9, my entire family's life is in your hands now. You are a hero, you can definitely save me, right?" At this moment, in the arena, the top 16 competition had already ended. The audience still wanted to continue, but when it was time for the intermission, they began to find a place to eat and wait for the afternoon competition to begin. In the afternoon, it was the top 8 competition, and the audience tickets were even more expensive. It was almost impossible to buy. An ordinary standing ticket had been hyped up to 1,000 yuan, and it was still not available. They had never seen such an exciting competition in their lives. This was a battle that truly belonged to the strong. "My dear, congratulations on your successful advancement." In Li Fan's lounge, Teresa came to look for him with red wine. "What's there to be happy about? There's still more to come." Li Fan hurriedly ate his lunch. Just like breakfast, it was sent to his room by someone. Before the competition, it was right to try to avoid meeting the contestants as much as possible. "I don't think it's difficult for you." Teresa thought that Li Fan won very easily. "You can definitely pass the top 4. "I hope so." Just as Li Fan was about to drive away the clingy Teresa, she said, "Don't be like this, my dear. The bathroom in my room is broken, and I still have to watch the competition in the afternoon. Can I take a shower here?" "Don't be like this, my dear. My room's bathroom is broken. I still have to stare at the sun in the afternoon to watch the competition. Can I take a shower here? In any case, Teresa was also an international friend, and he couldn't lose face for the Chinese. If it's just a shower, of course it's not a problem. Hihi, my dear, of course it's just a shower. I'm not a casual person. Without red wine, music, and romance, I won't casually make love. You're not casual? Bullshit. Li Fan rolled his eyes, and then pointed to the bathroom next to him. Go, don't delay for too long, I still have the top 8 competition in the afternoon. Don't worry, I'll be quick. Teresa went to take a shower. After she went in, she took off all her clothes, including her underwear, and threw it outside with her white and tender little hand. This woman, just as Li Fan was about to scold her, a familiar voice came from the outside. Li Fan, can I come in? Li Fan was stunned. Fuck, it's the Saintess. Chapter 1623. Li Fan was taken aback. Why did the Saintess look for him at this time? The two of them did have some fate, but it was all in the past. After so long, why did she look for him? Teresa, don't come out. And don't make a sound. I'll send her away soon. If he let Teresa come out now, it might cause some unnecessary misunderstandings. Anyway, he would quickly send the Saintess away, so it was fine to let Teresa hide for a while. Li Fan immediately sent a voice transmission to Teresa in the bathroom and warned her not to come out and mess things up. Although Teresa was a little passionate, she was still a sensible person and knew the proper etiquette. Why are you looking for me? Li Fan opened the door, and sure enough, the veiled Saintess was standing outside. As long as Li Fan was willing, he could easily take off the Saintess' veil. But he didn't do so, because it was a little rude. Strength didn't mean everything, and it couldn't be used as an excuse to be willful and unreasonable. However, this didn't mean that he was willing to have too much interaction with the Saintess. After all, Li Fan didn't like the Soul Respect sect from the bottom of his heart. We're all old acquaintances, shouldn't we communicate our feelings occasionally? The Saintess reached out and pushed Li Fan into the room, then closed the door. Hey, this isn't very nice, right? I saw Wang Zhini nearby. The Saintess winked at Li Fan and said in a low voice. The debt between us has been settled, so why are you still looking for me? Li Fan had no choice but to sit on his bed, folding his arms and looking at the Saintess opposite him. It's just to communicate our feelings. If I believe you, I'd be an idiot. You're the little overlord, are you afraid of me? The Saintess giggled, but Li Fan rolled his eyes. Don't try that, we're all experienced people, do you think I'll fall for it? Sigh, actually I'm here to discuss the matter of joining hands with you, but it seems like you hate me. The Saintess sighed, as expected, even the little overlord is no different from those people from the 6 great sects. They are all people who can't differentiate between right and wrong. That doesn't sound right, right? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. Although I'm not a good person, I'm different from those from the 6 great sects. What's the difference? The Holy Maiden looked at Li Fan provocatively. It's not the first time you've met me, right? But have I ever done anything evil? The Saintess directly questioned Li Fan. Not really, that's incredible. The Saintess snorted. Do you think it's a bad thing that I'm looking for you? Or is it that my crimes are unforgivable, so you want to avoid me like I'm the plague? Alright, let's just say that you're right. What do you mean by forget? What I said makes sense. Hearing this, the Saintess did not feel happy. I want to join hands with you. Are you afraid? What's there to be afraid of? Li Fan curled his lips. Don't use these words to provoke me. Just say what you want to say. If what you said is right, it's not like I can't join hands with you. What's wrong? You only need to know that Jiang Feng and Long Fengyu have joined hands, and that Niu Shuiyan has also joined hands with Wang Zhini and the others. The Saintess directly asked, in this martial arts competition, you, as the villa master of the 7 Heroes Villa, the little overlord of Jianghu, can only disguise yourself. It really makes people sigh. You, who are isolated and helpless, need a helper, don't you? I'm not isolated and helpless. Li Fan said, moreover, I'm not afraid of fighting with them. You're quite amazing to be able to recognize my identity with just a glance. No matter how you change, your eyes are still the same. The Saintess's method of recognizing Li Fan was somewhat unique. You're always so special. Even after experiencing so many things, in the depths of your eyes, there's still some arrogance hidden. Li Fan, don't tell me you don't feel wronged. Compared to that number 9, you're the real hero, right? But you didn't get the reward you deserve. Instead, you're hiding your head and showing your tail. I'm really unreconciled for you. I'm fine. Li Fan smiled. I've personally witnessed China slowly becoming stronger. Now, even Taiwan has been recovered. The motherland is unprecedentedly unified. Even the US empire has to pay attention to our face. So, what's there to be unhappy about? You know what? In my life, I only admire 2 people. The Saintess stretched out 2 fingers, one is you, and the other is our sect leader. But the 2 of you are polar opposites, but in some places, you're surprisingly the same. I'm just myself. However, if you're interested in me, you can follow me. Li Fan smiled. I don't mind accepting a beauty to work for me. Humph, how do you know I'm a beauty? Maybe I'm ugly. A girl's beauty and ugliness, even if they cover their face, can't be hidden. Li Fan said, if a girl is beautiful, she'll be praised in all kinds of ways when she's born. Thus, her demeanor is full of confidence. In this aspect, you're really cunning. The Saintess returned to the main topic. All right, I won't beat around the bush with you. In this competition, I want to join hands with you. How do you want to join hands? Li Fan asked. There will only be one champion in this competition, right? Yes, there will only be one leader. But what if someone is not convinced? The Saintess winked at Li Fan. You know, I'm very good at escaping. No matter which one of us wins the championship, I hope you can lend me a hand and escort me out of here. As for the true immortal art, I'll naturally give it to you. You're so confident. What if I win? Then I'll help you leave here. The Saintess looked at Li Fan with a smile that was not a smile. Otherwise, do you think that if you win the competition, you can safely leave this place? What? There's someone who wants my life. Li Fan's domineering aura was revealed again. Even if the Martial Emperor and Jiang Feng want to stop me, they have to weigh their own weight. They are only a part of the people. The Saintess shook her head. You're always so inconsiderate. In short, trust me this once, I won't cheat you. If you win, I'll escort you out of here, and you have to give me the 3rd page of your true immortal art. If possible, I also want the 1st page in your hands. The 1st page is indeed in my hands. Li Fan didn't know why, but looking at the Saintess, he has a familiar feeling, especially calm, and subconsciously said this matter. However, I have to tell you, these 2 pages are not good stuff. It's best if you don't cultivate them. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.